Somebody always got to be lit, I guess. I mean, it's part of the tradition. I
Hey,
guess.
Drew
Or
fans,
just
are
not
you
here.
And
okay?
it's Mo. And it's Mo.
Hey, Drew fans, are you
Yeah.
okay? You okay, Drew
You know,
fans?
what's crazy, Lewis? You
Okay.
say you asking if Drew fans are okay. You need to ask if CM Punk haters are okay. That's
I am
what you
not.
really need to ask.
I'm not.
Yeah, I love
Oh,
it.
hey, because I'm
I love
not.
it.
Hey, as the leader of the hate club myself, it was an amazing.
I'm
Day
not.
for me. It was an amazing day for me. Yeah,
It was
pack that
great.
man up.
I was part of the 1% that held out hope. I had hope, and hope prevailed. It prevailed.
We were just
Hey,
talking
and
about
I've
this
been
off camera.
caping for.
If I could, I'll jump us off here because we were just talking about this off camera. Drew McIntyre for the past 2-3 months has been my spirit animal. I was just telling Lewis this off camera. Everything that Drew says, everything that he does, posted pictures next to Punk's gravestone and shit. He is my spirit animal. And Drew's face when he leaned up from that pin and saw CM Punk's slimy, sleeky, oily looking ass laying there refusing to drop the 3. Drew McIntyre and I had the exact same face. Oh my God, this motherfucker will not go away. Someone please get him out of my life. And I don't know what they are paying Drew on this new contract or what they are promising him or what. But for him to go out there in Scotland or in the UK twice in 3 years and take the L like that. If I was him, I'd be a little bit upset. I'd be a little bit upset at this point. But, you know, good on Damian Priest. Good for him, especially after what happened in the middle of that match with the rope accident that we all thought was going to cost him his career when it happened. Oh, my God. For him to be able to recover and have a 4-star match with Drew McIntyre and you walk away and even after everything with Drew and the crowd and CM Punk, it says something about Damian Priest that you still walk away remembering things that Damian Priest did in that match. So good on Damian Priest for hanging in there. Now, once we get to SummerSlam, Gunther's going to serve him his ass on a silver platter, but that's a conversation for another day. But yeah, good for Damian Priest for hanging in there. But yeah, fuck CM Punk. Fuck him all the way to Tuesday.
G, there's no way.
Hey, actually, before I get into my nasty fantasy booking as Lewis,
Fucking hate you looking.
y'all see the name right here. Y'all see the name. I wasn't here last week for a specific reason, guys. Your boy is finna be a father. That's why.
Yes, sir.
I want to join the family. That's shout out to my girl who's watching right now. Shout out to my girl who's watching now. We about to have a little G baby.
Is that a future Gunther lover you gonna be raising?
Little lowercase G.
It's gonna be a future Samoan G baby. That is gonna be a Samoan G baby. That's what we finna be on.
Oh, so, damn! Yeah, I'm sorry.
We lit. Hey, and because I've been in such a great mood this past week. Hey, let's talk about it. Cause you talked about Damian Priest, and that's one of the main things I wanted to get into. Because yes, that man, y'all, I remember for months, y'all was like, man, I don't care about Damian Priest as a world.
I was talking about the briefcase. Never mind.
Yeah. But he honestly, that was the match to me where it was like, okay, I think the world is gonna respect you now as a champion. Because I think a lot of people were kind of like, he'll lose to Drew. This is just filler. And now it's like, oh, okay, I'll give you props for that. Because that ankle, you could tell he was hurting.
Because you remember the day he cashed in, everybody looked at the timeline and they're like, oh, Clash of the Castle's here. Oh, so he doesn't make it past. We get here, it's like, oh, he won.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Because I wanted him to have a good run, and I think it's been doing good so far. So I'm gonna give him his props. So with that being said, we have one more pay-per-view to get to before SummerSlam. Everybody knows what that is. It's Money in the Bank. It's a pay-per-view that a lot of me personally, it's hard to mess up 2 ladder matches in the same night. It's really hard to do it, let alone multi-man ladder matches. It's hard to mess that up, right? Now, I've been sitting here debating the entire time because I think we all know Tiffany Stratton will win the women's. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I don't care about anything else. Like, I think that's a foregone conclusion. So, I was like, man,
Naomi's
Tiffany's the... Yeah, but... So I was looking at the men. I was like, there's a lot more parity with the men. I know a lot of people love Jey Uso. Are they finally going to make him main event? There's a bunch of SmackDown stars you could put in. They're finally using Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. They could possibly qualify. You got Melo over there. But the entire time, you know what I was thinking?
Finn Balor.
And yes, because it finally clicked once Damian Priest won tonight. I was like, if Damian Priest wins this match tonight, they could do the Finn Balor win Money in the Bank when we get to SummerSlam and replay that dynamic that they did last SummerSlam. And the only reason I say they could do that, guys, Finn Balor got the room key. When they put it on the table, when they put their hands in the thing, he tried to make it discreet. I thought it was obvious. I don't know how Damian Priest he slid that room key in his pocket. So if they want to go that route, because Triple H, and he said it in the press conference, this is why they stress storytelling more than anything, right? He said that out of his own mouth in the press conference. Yep. If they really want to do that, why not play on SummerSlam last year when Damian Priest had Money in the Bank and Finn was fighting for the world title? Damian Priest got the world title
because now he's the world champion.
Exactly. Finn obviously feels like he's still world title material. If they are doing he working with Liv and all that, hey man, he could win that briefcase, and we could get because I think Tiffany's gonna hold it for a while, so we could get a male cash in at SummerSlam. I don't know. I'm just saying, do not rule it out. Do not rule it out. Jay's your favorite, but don't rule out a Finn Money in the Bank.
So there's a couple of things with that before we dive into that. I guess it really, for me, depends on who they put in the match first. I got to see who's all in the match first, because the women, I really think Tiffany Stratton got that on lock for sure. But for the men, I got to see who's in the match before I really collectively, I guess, decide for me personally who I think could win. But before we dive into it, we do have two guests that I want to introduce first, and then we'll dive into.
Sorry, my CM Punk hatred got the best of me, and I lost all etiquette.
Until we get into the conversation, we got a lot to talk about. We'll do a lot of the Clash of the Castle recap and stuff, because there's a lot of things we can point on and touch. So we got two guests today. I'll introduce himself. I'll start with Justin first, and then Tay, you can go after Justin. You guys can plug in your socials and tell everybody what you do and stuff like that if you want. If you don't have any socials, you don't have to plug anything. But
okay, I'm Justin. I'm the Wrestling Classic. You guys can follow me on Instagram at the Wrestling Classic. I do interviews. I've done multiple podcasts in the past. Recent months, I've interviewed Natalia, Bryan Danielson, et cetera, et cetera. You can check them all out on my YouTube channel. Just happy to be here. Glad to hang on, talk some wrestling. I do have some thoughts on that whole Finn Balor thing, but we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, what's up, guys? I'm Tay. You can follow me on TikTok, Instagram, Tay.insane. Follow me on Twitter. Same thing without the dot, Tay Insane. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm ready to talk some Clash stuff, and I got some stuff I want to get off my chest too.
So real quick, can we know a wrestler y'all are just like, like when they show up, you're like,
There's a couple of comments I want to make. First things first, to Samoa G Daddy, happy Father's Day, soon to be Father.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
To Mo as well.
I did not know you were a father, but happy Father's Day. Second thing,
Excuse me.
Okay.
Jay the father.
It's my first time here.
Everybody,
The second thing is Goldberg needs to finish Brett's story as probably the only Canadian in here. Not a fan of that.
My condolences. I apologize. That's your Brett fan. I apologize.
I am. I'm a big Brett fan. And then three.
There's your best friend.
He's Canadian.
And also
he's Canadian.
CM Punk. I'm also a CM Punk fan, so I don't know who the CM Punk haters are here, but huge CM Punk fan. I've been a CM Punk fan for years. And then third, someone that makes me go. For the longest time, someone that made me go every time they came out would have been a Damian Priest. I never understood the character. Didn't get what he was. But, there's a theory in professional wrestling. A title can elevate a person, or a person can elevate a title. I think this title's really elevated Damian Priest. I think it's made him feel like a main event star. It's put him in that spot. I also think the absence of Rhea Ripley has made him seem like a stronger player. I feel like if she was still here, we might not be thinking about Damian the way we're thinking about
100% agree. I have more on that later, but 100% agree. Yeah.
And then
I like
we'll
this
get into the Finn stuff after. But I want Tay to do his thing because I just went on a little bit of a
Hey, he just cooked right there. I'm not gonna hold y'all. He just cooked right there. That was beautiful.
Well, but
I got a couple, to be honest with you. One of them, I mean, y'all say it every week, but it's Natalia. I'm tired of her being on TV every single week. I'm sick of it. Like every week, she trying to give somebody some glasses and they not having it.
Yeah.
So like,
the boat.
I'm right there with her. That's
Oh man.
Wait, hold on.
She moves like she's a boat. A boat with arms.
All right. You know.
Yo,
I know.
Oh
I
man.
know.
we are.
Go ahead and drop a couple more real quick, man.
see, another one I got, Shayna Baszler. I don't care about her no more either.
Oh no!
Oh,
Oh no!
Look, listen.
That's
Wait,
more of the
she's
booking, though. The
cooked.
booking.
She's
Yeah,
cooked
it's
now,
the booking.
Tay.
It's the booking. 2020,
She's cooked
I
now,
was all
Tay.
in
I
on
know
her.
it's the booking, and she
Yeah.
got pinned last
Yeah.
night too.
Yeah,
She's
bro.
cooked. She's cooked now. Unfortunately,
She
never-
got beat down by Lola Vice too at Battleground.
Yeah.
That's over.
Hey, that was a good back and forth 50-50 though. Like
No,
that.
No, but if this was 2018, she'd have got packed up, bro.
But it ended with Lola literally shaking her ass in Shayna's face. She's cooked. She's done.
Yeah, she's cooked,
Yeah,
bro.
she
She,
Yeah,
she is good.
done,
She is
bro.
good.
She's
It's
done.
tough, but yeah.
Gee, we don't
Yeah.
want her to be cooked, but she's cooked, bro.
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
good. She's good.
It's
As far as male, I don't know if he technically counts because he ain't showed up yet, but it's Uncle Howdy.
Thank you.
These
you.
QR codes pissing me off, bro.
He's already done with us.
They're gonna be there on Monday, and everybody gonna love it. I promise you.
No, everybody gonna love. We gotta see where it go
Yeah,
after they show up. there.
I'm open-minded. I'm giving it a chance.
I want to see. I want to see what they looking like 3-4 months from now. You know. What I'm
Yeah,
saying?
because the thing is, he immediately has a 3-month grace because of Bray, right? So everyone's going to love it. Everyone's going to cheer out of respect for Bray. But by the time we get to Survivor Series, let's see how the crowds are reacting.
I just
That's
hope they
all
don't.
I'm
I just
saying.
hope they don't fuck up and put him in any title scenarios.
Right,
But
absolutely.
I don't think they will. But the other thing too, and obviously RIP to Bray Wyatt, but Bray was a little bit more control freak with his character, not in a bad way, but he definitely had a specific vision, and it definitely had to be reined in a little bit because Triple H's big thing was, okay, how do we put it on TV?
Right.
With Bo Dallas, you don't really have to worry about that. Like, yes, there's an overarching vision, but he is not the control freak of his character that Bray Wyatt was. So I think it'll be able to prosper a little easier. That's just my opinion.
All right, so let's go ahead. We got to backtrack. Let's go back because let's talk about the Damian Priest and all that shit that happened last night. So, I think everybody kind of had their own speculations of what could really happen and what they thought should have happened, whatever direction it would go in. I think most of us kind of felt CM Punk would show up. As far as when he appeared on TV, we didn't kind of really know what was going to happen. And shout out to the cameraman for that angle because I did not know that was CM Punk when he first slid in that ring until he stopped counting. And I was like, oh shit, that's actually CM Punk, bro. I didn't even.
It was the haircut.
I didn't even peep it, bro. I wasn't even.
dying.
I wasn't even looking at that. I was just looking at the referee shirt. You know what I mean? So shout out to the cameraman for the angle.
I watched it after the fact, but I did also think that camera angle was smart to like give that position. But like knowing after the fact that it was Punk, I already knew. So I was like, if I was watching this live, maybe I would have tripped too, because they did cover up his arms and made sure he wore the long sleeve.
Yeah, I didn't peep it until probably about that 2 count. I was like, that's CM Punk. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Scotland Screwjob. Shout out to Chef God. That's an amazing name.
There's a mix of different feelings that I have. It makes sense from a storyline aspect of what happened because Punk and Drew have this feud. It makes it more personal now. So it elevates the feud further to make it more personal. And most of us believe that's probably going to be a SummerSlam match too. So it makes more sense for it to go that way. I don't know if I like that they keep putting Drew in these positions where he's either chasing the same thing he's been chasing for 4 years, and he either has to put other people over because he has to try to help solidify their reigns. Like when he went up against Bobby Lashley, had to put Bobby over because Bobby was new fresh champion, had to make him look strong. Big E, when he fought Big E had to get put over by somebody because he had to at least try to make his championship reign mean something. Roman Reigns on this legendary run as champion that was pure cinema, they were calling, and when he fought him at Clash of the Castle the first time, it was like literally the height of the Bloodline story, you know, so it was like really at the highest peak. Then he had to put over Seth Rollins a couple of times during his run as champion, you know what I mean? So he had to kind of solidify that. I think he put him over twice, so had to solidify his run a little bit. So they're either putting him in these situations where he has to either put somebody over to help elevate them, or he's getting screwed by like a Solo, by like a CM Punk for storyline purposes, you know, but that all makes sense. So it's like, they keep having Drew want to chase this ultimate moment. I don't know if there could have been a bigger moment than last night at this point. Like, to be honest, like the moment would have been huge for it to happen last night if it was going to happen. WrestleMania would have been great. That would have been a cool moment. Clash of the Castle 2 years ago would have been a cool moment as well. But like, I feel like if there was a literal silver platter where it could have like happened, it would have happened last night. So now that he lost, number one, I don't know when they'll pull the trigger with him to be the world champion, if it happens sometime this year, if it happened next year, whenever. It does make the story interesting more with Punk and Drew as far as a personal aspect, and now that Damian Priest is still the champion, it makes it more interesting now, like who's going to be next, because obviously we know Gunther is the agenda for SummerSlam, so this seems like we're going to get Priest and Gunther at SummerSlam, which honestly shows you how high Triple H, honestly, we talked about, I think maybe last week, that even if Damian Priest lost, he would still be in a good spot, because we think Triple H is valuing Damian Priest, that he sees potential in him. I think that even shows more now that he really values Damian Priest as as a main event guy, because not only is he still the champion, but he's going to be in a featured match with Gunther at SummerSlam. Even if he loses, you know, Gunther puts on good matches to people, and he's obviously trusting Damian Priest to go out there and put on a good match with Gunther. So, I guess it's just, I was 50-50 with it. Like, I wouldn't have been mad if Drew won. I actually thought he should have won. But him losing, I was like, okay, I understand if this is going to happen, why this is happening, and what direction we're going to go in here. I don't know. I just feel like I just don't like that they keep putting him in these situations, because it's like they keep putting him in these bad predicaments, and like Jay said, it's like, bro, what they giving? What they promising this man in the end, bro? Like, he keep having to eat shit in the end, bro. Like,
well, that's why I don't think the reason why I was leaning more so he shouldn't win is because even though if in the world, an alternate universe where Gunther does not win this title at SummerSlam like we're all expecting him to, Gunther's not going to lose anything. He has, 3 losses in his WWE career, counting NXT UK? So if he loses, he's not going to lose, or 5. So he's not going to lose anything if he actually gets pinned. But we're all expecting him to be world champion. So do you really want to honestly kind of do what they did with Alba and Isla? Because I don't think they're holding them titles for any longer than a month max. I think they losing at the next pay-per-view, to be honest.
yeah.
So with Drew, yeah, you'll give him this win here to get packed, have a rematch with Damian, then get packed up at SummerSlam? For what?
Well, and also remember, you know, we're doing all this talking about Money in the Bank. Remember, there's also a scenario where the Money in the Bank winner cashes in the middle of the match and then pins the champion, and Gunther never even has to be involved in the decision. And then Gunther has a clean road back to a rematch after that, too.
Or you could even do a situation where somehow, because Gunther's guaranteed a title shot at SummerSlam, no one has necessarily said it needs to be a singles match either. Like,
Yeah.
it just turns into a love triangle where, like, Finn Balor wins the Money in the Bank, cashes in, wins the belt, and now it's Damian versus Finn versus Gunther or something.
I was thinking.
You know what I mean? Like, there's another way out. That's just another way.
I was thinking.
This is a great problem to have too. By the way.
I was thinking.
Avenues you can go.
I was thinking like, because with the triple threat angle, I was thinking like if they were to have Drew hypothetically win, I wouldn't be opposed to like Gunther versus Punk versus Drew, and then like if Punk were to take the loss in that could add on more to the Drew story. Like, you cost me the title again. Like, I never got pinned to lose the championship. It's your fault. Like, because this whole Drew character, it's always other people's faults of his downfall, but they all make sense though. It's not like he's pointing fingers and blaming people just for no reason. Like, he has valid reasons for why he's going after people, or why he's blaming people for these reasons. So that was something I thought in my mind. Like, if they were to do that, if they had that triple threat and then Punk got beat by Gunther's now the champion, and that adds more to the Punk and Drew reign, as far as like, you know, I didn't lose the championship hypothetically. Like, you're the one who.
I mean, also, like, Drew did win the belt at WrestleMania, technically.
He did.
He just lost it seconds later, right?
I don't.
And if they go to UK again, maybe third time's the charm. I just don't think Punk and Drew need the belt. I don't think they're feud.
They
It's one of
don't,
those
which
feuds
is
that
why
don't
they-
need the belt, right?
Mhm.
And I don't know. Like, I'm still on the fence here because I'm trying to be a little biased because I am going to go to Money in the Bank. I don't know if I'm going to go to SummerSlam yet, so I'm hoping we get Punk and Drew in a trilogy with Money in the Bank, SummerSlam, boom, Hell in a Cell with Bad Blood. But like, I don't think the belt needs to be involved in that. And I think Drew will get that belt eventually. But you got Gunther, you got Damian Priest, you got Finn Balor, you got all these big players that could. Like I said, Damian feels like a bigger top star now because the belt elevated him. Like maybe you can elevate some other people.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lewis.
This is what I said about this situation, and when I say it, just let me cook. I look at this situation as a Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa situation. The way I look at it is Triple H now has his money feud where the title doesn't need to be involved, because for a while, majority of the time, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, their feud with the title was a cup of coffee. It was a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But the way I look at it is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, that's the money draw feud. That's what you're building the show around. And the world champion, which at that time was Aleister Black, he wasn't the money draw, but he was still a guy you're primarily focusing on to build up even more. That's what I'm looking at in this scenario. I'm looking at Drew and Punk as Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, and I'm looking at Gunther eventually becoming Aleister Black, where he's not the money draw, but he's still the guy that you can still trust to elevate that championship to a certain standard while you have your main money draw feud. And you can use Gunther to elevate other people the same way Aleister Black was elevating other people before he dropped to the Ciampa. So I think eventually, does Punk and Drew need the title? No. But I think eventually we're going to get to that point where the title will be involved in some sort of capacity.
I mean, I can see a match on Raw.
Well, to piggyback off of that, I think the match with the title will be at Mania. Because I'm under the impression Seth Rollins Seth Rollins is not coming back for a year, bare minimum. He's not. I don't think he's going to be at the Rumble. I don't think a year from WrestleMania. Like I genuinely see Seth Rollins as a Raw after Mania return as opposed to a Royal Rumble return. I don't think Seth is coming back. I personally don't.
Does Drew and Punk go that long, or does that end by the end of this fall and we get back to Seth and Punk when Seth gets back?
I think they can stretch it a long time, man.
Honestly, and the reason why I think they can stretch it, you can have your match at SummerSlam and then just they don't have to be around each other. Because I know what other people said, oh, Punk got to show that he healthy, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. I think Punk is winning that Rumble, and I think he's main eventing night one as long as he's healthy. I think that would have been the plan this year if he didn't get hurt. I know it's a big if. I know it is. I think Triple H is good enough to have a set plan and be able to adapt to it.
Not worried about the plans, I'm worried about CM Punk's bones.
I know. I know you are, Jade. I know you are, but that's why. This is why I'm saying.
That's CM Punk's tendons.
I know you hate him. I think in a perfect world, we know we don't live in one, but if we did, perfect world, CM Punk is main eventing night one. If he doesn't, guess what? We got Gunther, we got Drew. Hey, we got multiple different things we can do to where it does not. The show doesn't suffer. This isn't Vince where if Roman Reigns ain't there, oh my God, I gotta put a title on Brock Lesnar.
By the way, I don't want to give Justin and Tay the wrong impression. And Tay, by the way, we're all alphas. Just jump in whenever you want. I don't want to give Justin and Tay the wrong impression here. I've said on the podcast before, I said before WrestleMania, that as big as WrestleMania was, it would have been bigger if CM Punk had been there. These guys were all. I've said that. I'm on record. Yeah, so it's not like I don't. It's not like I argue that CM Punk is one of the biggest things in wrestling, because he is. I just don't have faith in him. I don't have faith in his health. I don't have faith in his attitude. By the way, as you guys continue this discussion, I personally think it would be the funniest thing in the world after all the shit talking that Drew did to Damian about how cheap his title win was. If Drew attacks a Cedric Alexander or a Shanti Theodonis before their qualifying match for the Money in the Bank, forces himself into that qualifying match, wins it, goes on and wins Money in the Bank, and then cashes in to become the champion at some point down the road. I think that would be the ultimate heel move for Drew.
There's still so many other guys.
You're actually cooking with that, and the reason I say that is because, bro, we've been talking. Yeah, Jay Uso looked like the odd-on favorite, but do we really trust he actually gonna win it? I don't. And I don't think anybody on SmackDown is winning it.
I think we also gotta understand. So I want to go back to the point of like, do we see Drew and Punk lasting until WrestleMania? I'm saying yeah, because if we compare the Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa storyline, they weren't feuding months straight. Like they were like Tommaso Ciampa's two main rivals, like after Johnny Gargano for a little bit, was Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream, and then Johnny Gargano was Ricochet, Velveteen Dream, and Finn Balor. So they're gonna throw feuds like Punk's not gonna feud with Drew for like 7 months straight. They're gonna throw somebody else at him. Like he's gonna feud with somebody else, and Drew's gonna be the same way. So I do think this could stretch out until WrestleMania because the Raw roster is stacked, bro. They could feud with damn near the entire roster.
Doesn't it seem kind of tough for them to book Gunther without a belt? Like he won the King of the Ring, we barely see him. It feels like.
Well, I think they just gave him time off because he deserved it.
It just feels weird. Like he's hard to book without a belt. So
you feel his presence. Not.
I was about to say, and honestly, him being gone has benefited. Him being gone has benefited Ludwig Kaiser.
Yes, Ludwig and Sheamus are cooking.
Bro,
if Gunther was still here, Ludwig, I don't know if Ludwig would have Ludwig looking nice.
To that point, Ludwig can have separate feuds while he's with Gunther. Still, I feel like I just feel like they kind of booked themselves in the corner with Gunther being this unbeatable person that only got beat like 3 times or whatever. Because it's like, I don't know. What do you if you want to put the title in the title picture with Punk and Drew, or if you want to keep it with the Judgment Day, it's like, what are you gonna do with Gunther hypothetically? Is it Brock Lesnar gonna come back? Does he eventually just feud Braun for a few months? Like what do you do?
I think Brock Lesnar is inevitable at this point. It's only a matter of when is he gonna come back, but it's inevitable.
But so what I would say about Gunther though, I feel like, and this is what I told Lewis. I don't know if I was on live or in the chat. This is what I told Lewis. I feel like Gunther now, even though his mid-card run or his IC title run, best IC title reign of all time, even though it was that, and he beat Sheamus, he beat Drew, but he was elevating some mid-carders, but at the end of the day, they were mid-carders. Now, he's getting put in a position with more people that are technically on his level. We all viewed Gunther as a main eventer holding an IC title, holding a mid-card title. He is a true main eventer, though. He is now on the level with other main eventers, and even if you don't count Damian, Drew McIntyre, a Seth Rollins, a CM Punk, they keep saying Jey Uso, even though Jey Uso has had very competitive matches with him. Like, those guys are on his level now. So you can book those feuds, and even if he doesn't win the title, because I'm not convinced he is. I think they have too many spinning plates for me to just be like, oh, yeah, Gunther's for sure winning the title. So even if he doesn't win it, I think there's more people on his level to where he can do some feuds with whatever the case. Like, for example, let's just say, I don't know, him and Ludwig like are in a tag match versus Sheamus and who knows, whatever partner. And you could do a spin-off singles feud with that. I'm not saying they have to do that, but I think Gunther is in a position now where when he first came up, the first thing he did was win that title. He didn't even have a feud.
I think another thing we have to, this is why people have to watch the press conferences, because it's so important, because the press conferences also add to stories as well. So the vibe that I got from Damian at the press conference was, with this title run, he's set to prove people wrong. Like that's his main thing right now. Like he said, people thought I wasn't going to win Money in the Bank. I did that. People said I wasn't going to cash in. I did that. People said that I was a transitional champion. I'm not that. People said that I wasn't going to beat Drew in Scotland. I did that. And at the end, he said, please tell me I can't beat Gunther, because when that happens, I'm going to rub it in everybody's face when it happens. So that makes me like, yo, like.
But he can't.
Ooh, I don't. It's tough. No, it's tough. It's tough.
Y'all are saying that.
It's tough.
But until it happens.
Because I feel like with the Gunther situation, me personally, I mean, what I would
see how you can pass on Gunther either. That's to me, you have to do it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, what I would do to build up Gunther, I feel like they got to revisit the Randy situation first. Like, that's a Money in the Bank match they can easily throw out there and like put that stipulation back. You know, like, you never pin me. Put the crown in line. You know what I'm saying? Like, prove that you can actually beat me type stuff, and then that helps elevate him even further for SummerSlam. I don't know. I mean, Priest versus Gunther, unless there's going to be some type of shenanigans with Judgment Day and stuff like that, like in a straight up match, I can't see Damian Priest beating Gunther.
So wait,
like,
hold on. So
up.
going to Gunther, let's say hypothetically he does win the world title, right? Who's to say Gunther and Randy have to face off before Gunther faces Damian? Maybe Gunther becomes world champion and Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce is like, you know what? Randy technically didn't lose, so we can give him a shot at Gunther with the world title.
Yeah, but keep in mind though, Randy is firmly entrenched with Kevin Owens in the bloodline right now.
Yeah.
He's not even thinking about that.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, brand split, LOL. Like,
He hasn't even. In fact, he's looked more at Cody's title than he has.
He gonna fuck Cody up. He gonna fuck Cody up. What happened?
Well, I wanted to ask this question to you, Malik, because you were talking about you don't believe Damian Priest beating Gunther, and I hear you. I
talking about in a straight up match, like
yeah.
Oh, this going the Judgment Day.
I mean, again, I don't. It's hard to see a lot of people beating Gunther because that's how he's been presented. But I'm gonna bring up something I said a couple weeks ago, and I want to know if you could see that happening here. Because remember when I told you when Liv finally won that title, stop acting like the underdog babyface and just start beating people, even though she's not in the feud.
Looking at
I was like, she needs to beat Rhea Ripley when she gets back. If you want to solidify her as a top star and not a champion that we don't care about, right? Yes, Damian just beat Drew, but can you see a world where Triple H is like, nah, y'all didn't think, like, I'm going to establish Damian Priest as that guy, and bare minimum, I'm going to give him the win at SummerSlam. Now, he ain't got to hold the title long after that, but I think a statement win, especially if Judgment Day is still together, if Judgment Day is still together, and they haven't done the split, and Finn is not winner of the Money in the Bank, I mean, we talk about shenanigans and stuff, but, like, what top heel champion with a stable didn't cheat to win?
Right.
You know what I mean? And it doesn't hurt him. It doesn't hurt either of them.
And speaking of Liv Morgan, and there's a lot of people on Twitter that we know is going to be happy to hear one of us say this. When it comes to the World Championship picture and what's going to happen, Liv Morgan might be a huge piece of that, because that whole story with Finn and Liv and the Judgment Day and Rhea is definitely going to bleed into the World Championship picture at some point.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing, a lot of people,
title. That's all she did.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forgot that, like, we've seen Liv with Finn, we've seen Liv with JD, we've seen Liv with Dom, but we haven't seen Liv with Damian at all in any of those little backstage little thingies. He's the only one that's not in this Liv situation where everyone else has been seen talking to her, associating with her, coming out of a car with her. So, like, maybe Finn, Dominic, and JD are all in this together, and they're trying to get rid of Damian. And the only one on Damian's side is really probably Rhea, because they're the two OGs of the Judgment Day, to be honest, with Edge back in the day.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe
that could play a huge factor. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that could go into this. You brought up Punk possibly winning the Rumble. Maybe that could play a factor down the line. I mean, that could also be a factor as well, because I did see an interview. I don't remember who it was, but Cody Rhodes was always the plan to win, because he said that he found out that day that the possibility of The Rock coming back, like, he found out that day of the Rumble. They told him, like, when you win, like, just know the possibility of The Rock coming back is possible now. So even though you're gonna win, that's still a possibility. So he found out that day of the Rumble. So Punk was never going to be the plan to win, but we do think that he was going to face Seth regardless at WrestleMania. He probably won the Chamber, you know what I'm saying, to get to WrestleMania. So there's different factors and scenarios that could go with this. I don't know. I feel like Damian, there are still, when you look at other top contenders of Raw, you got Drew, you got Gunther, you got Seth, you know what I'm saying? I feel like people don't view Damian on that same level.
There are levels to this.
Yeah, there's levels to it, yeah.
I feel like people don't view Damian on that same level, which is why it's very hard to see him beat a Gunther. You know what I mean? Because, like, Damian is cool for people who like him. You know what I'm saying? He's all right. You know what I'm saying?
And
he's there, but
I'm more into Damian Priest now than I was 4 months ago. I think the title definitely helped him for sure.
Yeah.
And
also,
he's still kind of.
I genuinely think that when a storyline gets bigger than the title, you just don't need the title anymore. And I think the Judgment Day stuff is going to take a life of its own. That Damian doesn't need the belt, and what's going to piss Damian off more than anything else is him losing or his belt getting cost by a Judgment Day person getting involved.
Yeah.
I think Gunther is going to start something fresh going into the fall. And then new feuds, right? Because I couldn't even tell you who Gunther would feud then. If Damian guys are busy doing the Judgment Day stuff, Punk and Drew are doing their stuff, like Who knows?
Jey Uso again just to lose.
I don't know.
I think Jay's gonna be in the Money in the Bank, and somehow, some way, maybe one of the other Samoans are gonna be in it, Tom or someone, but somehow those guys are gonna cost Jay from winning to get Jay back in that bloodline situation.
Well, to be fair, I think I don't know if people know, but I believe SmackDown has a Madison Square Garden show, and Jey Uso and Damian Priest is that's gonna happen. So Damian Priest is facing off against Jey Uso next.
Can we get it?
And I do believe
that's gonna be off the air though. It'll be
that's a live show. Okay.
And I do believe though a lot of people don't like it, but I do believe his next feud. I don't know if it'll be a Money in the Bank match, but I see Braun Strowman being next.
I want to serve
Braun Strowman is in the shuffle right now too.
When Justin said something about
because if you remember that face-off they had,
hey, I want to know what you thought because I saw your face. I saw your face light up just a second ago. I want to know what lit up your face. What lit up your face?
I was just thinking about what G was saying with like Damian like possibly winning at SummerSlam. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Obviously, there would have to be shenanigans in it because there's no shot like mat to mat, bell to bell. Damian's not lasting with Gunther, in my opinion. Right. But like, if that were to be the case, Damian wins. Obviously, it elevates Damian more, but then you can just at that point you can just push it to Bash Berlin, which is like 3 weeks later after SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And so
I
forgot about
that moment. Give Gunther the win.
Because I don't know. I mean,
Gunther loss hurt him though. Like, let's just say
if it's shenanigans involved,
if he loses clean, does that really hurt Gunther though? Does that really hurt him though?
Image a little bit.
So the only
to
way
a guy like Damian, I would say yes.
Yeah. He need with Gunther.
Yeah, there's different levels to it, bro. Like if he's facing like a Roman Reigns and he lost
Seth Rollins, right?
Okay, but like
yeah.
Damian though, I don't know, man.
Yeah. I don't think he's there yet. I don't think he's beat Gunther clean levels yet.
So I don't think okay. So only reason I asked is because y'all were cool, and I'm assuming this is story, but y'all were cool with Chad Gable beating him, and personally, I feel like Chad Gable.
No, not me. Hold on, not me. I was one of the people that said I do not want Chad Gable to beat Gunther because I don't believe that.
Mo, go ahead. Mo was about to say what I was going to say. Go ahead.
The
Mo.
point of the whole Chad Gable story was to beat Gunther and to become IC champion.
Yeah.
So that fit, but like. Really
if there was a story
right now.
If there was a story to get Damian to a level to beat Gunther, I'd be okay with it. But there's just not.
For people, if you look at Gunther's past, the only people who have ever really beat him are people who either have appealing stories or can really match his intensity. And
that's
like Ilya. Like Ilya's one of the very few people that can really match
intensity and the skill. And I think Gable has that. And I don't look at Damian Priest and be like, he's so intense or he's such a great wrestler. It just doesn't dawn on me that Damian Priest is he is a great wrestler, but like not in that technical way. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's not presented as like this great technical wrestler that can get one over on you. Well, like Chad Gable had that. And Chad Gable had this intensity thing to him, right? Like he has this amateur wrestling background, all this stuff. Damian Priest, like I said, the one reason why I used to always go about Damian Priest was because I didn't get it. 1 minute he's shooting arrows, he's emo, he's a rock star, he's this, he's Scott Hall, he's the bisexual Undertaker. Like I don't get it. For the longest time I didn't even understand the Judgment Day. I'm like, they come to the arena in their regular clothes, they turn into the emo clothes, hang out in their clubhouse, turn all purple. Like none of it makes sense to me. But like,
he's growing on me a lot.
Can I just say though that
under Vince,
it's a crying shame that we couldn't get Gunther versus Fatherhood Chad Gable. Like Fatherhood Chad Gable versus Gunther would be
cooking
so good. Oh my!
The story was right there, but
did you see what he posted on his Twitter? He said, "Happy Father's Day from my family to yours," and it was a picture of Alpha Academy.
Hey,
the Creeds are about
Christian. What's going on?
The Creeds retweeted that. Yeah,
there's different.
Yeah, Jay. Jay, Monday.
I'm ready for the Creeds to come in and lay waste to Tozawa and Otis. I'm so ready for it.
Which, by the way, can we give up, bro? Loudest reaction in Scotland?
Otis is cooking right now.
He's been getting pops for weeks. He's cooking.
Otis is really good at getting himself over.
What sucks? He's getting all this reaction.
Yeah, this ain't the first time he.
2020.
Bro, he's getting all this reaction, and when they finally, like, really pull the trigger, I feel like he's just gonna fall in the nothing land. He might go back to NXT, which is such a shame. But it's like realistically, And it's a great problem to have. That's why Ricochet about to lead the company. Because you have so many people you got to push, especially with these young pups that younger guys, maybe not young pups, but younger guys like the Ilias, the Brawns, the Mellows on the other side. There's so many guys you got to push now. And even on the women, too, you got to give Liver TV time. You got to give all these other people TV time.
It's unfortunate because, like Otis, unlike Ricochet, he got personality. You feel me? So with Otis, he can also go. Like that match he had with Bronson Reed, like that showed me, like, bro, like Otis got a bag. They don't let him show it because
he can go. Yeah.
I totally forgot about Bronson Reed, but go on.
He's shown me like he can be a solid mid carder. Otis could be a solid mid carder. Like he doesn't have to go to Nothing Land if he's good at getting himself over. I agree with Mo, but just let him cook in the ring. He has that ability. He showed it in some of the matches that he's had.
I hear you, but like think about it. Justin just said it. Bronson Reed, where he at? You feel me?
I'm gonna give you the best example right now. Otis right now, because the story is so over, is in the Sami Zayn position that Sami was in when he was in the Bloodline. Yeah. You're just waiting for the moment, and that's why it's so over. But let's be honest, once Sami and Kevin won those tag titles, you were kind of just like, now what? And I feel like that's what's going to happen on Otis.
I wasn't.
I like
popularity.
I thought Sami and Kevin got boring for a minute there until the draft.
Well, they weren't booked well right after Mania. They were not.
And I think that's what's going to happen on Otis. That's how you fall back in the mid-card. Because once this happened.
And they were injured, and they got hurt. But at the peak of Sami and KO's title reign, they were feuding with 3 different tag teams at the same time.
And I
didn't find it that entertaining though. I wasn't as invested in Sami as I was while he was in the Bloodline and turning on Roman. I feel like everything after the Roman match kind of went downhill.
I don't think that's fair. The Bloodline story is generational. That's not fair.
The first title reign, if you have, because the Bloodline they had historic title reigns at the same time. The first one you do right after, because you're coming down off that high, it's not gonna feel the same, obviously, because you're coming off the high of the Bloodline. So, but it wasn't bad. Now, what I do think was dumb. I'm sorry. They lost, I think, a little too early, and then it was just like that was it. Like I think they had a rematch. It was like that was it. That I didn't like. I think if you really wanted to, because like same thing I feel with Cody. There's no way to me Cody can just lose a SummerSlam and that's okay. Like, there's no way. You just beat Roman after holding the title for damn near 4 years. You need to have a long reign after that. I feel like Sami and KO, because the matches were good. I think the stories they were telling were cool, but they needed. I don't think Sami and Kevin ever really had that true feud. Like that feud that really stamps a title reign. They just sent Kevin Owens to SmackDown to do the same thing he was doing in COVID, feuding with the Bloodline. That's literally what they sent him over there to do.
The problem is the tag team division at that point in time was not built up enough. So it was like, how much can you really do with these tag teams?
On Raw, there was enough teams on Raw, and that's where they were most of the time. There was enough teams on
the
Raw.
Right people, but they lost it to the right people. Let's be honest.
Speaking of teams, you know what the best thing for Otis would be after all this stuff cools down? Put Maxine in a pair of Daisy Dukes, bring back Tucker, and put Heavy Machinery back out there. Because Heavy Machinery never really got a legit run. Yeah, they got broken up before they could do anything, just like Enzo and Cass. And Enzo and Cass obviously is the bigger disgrace. That they could have been one of the biggest teams of all time. But Heavy Machinery, they could go out there. They could have a 7-8 year run and win 3 or 4 tag titles, no problem.
Because to your point, is anyone invested in a Akira Tozawa Otis team?
Right, exactly. No. But you bring Tucker back to save Otis from a beatdown. Everyone instantly recognizes him. And then you put Maxine in the booty shorts for the eye candy stuff. And then boom, you got an instant team right there.
Like that. What's going on?
Well, look at Mo. Would you rather see?
Oh, we're straight men. We gonna think about these things. Right?
But my thing is,
listen. When I interviewed Maxine, she takes credit in being able to be like the modern day Stacy Keibler. So whoever she's with, she's gonna match that energy. So if she was with Heavy Machinery, she'd match that energy. 100%.
Hey, Maxine was kind of cooking against Candice LeRae though that one time. She had a little moveset to her. I was like, okay, you've been in the lab.
She's getting better.
You've been in the lab.
She's getting better.
She's trying her hardest. She's
Does anybody else feel like Cody's venturing in that Super Cena situation nowadays? 'Cause
Hell yeah.
Oh my!
He's been in that.
No,
He's been in that.
I don't mind it,
I'm
though.
number
I
one.
like it.
I'm a number one Cena hater from 2007 to like 2011,
But
12.
the
I mean,
difference,
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense.
the difference is
and I
though.
feel it.
The difference is during Super Cena, that was always a 50-50 crowd. Cody hasn't had a 50-50 crowd. Crowds
At
love
all.
Cody.
And
100-0.
Wait till we get to Orton. Wait till we get to Orton.
I'm
Okay, but right now,
I
you're
said
talking
the
right
same
now.
shit.
No, absolutely.
I'm
I think for a lot of people still wanted Roman to win. There was this bunch of people
That was just
still
online
like,
trolls. Listen,
Don't-
hold
don't
on,
get me
hold on.
started.
I don't listen to those idiots. I had a
Roman,
biggest
but
bunch.
nah.
any discourse that happened at WrestleMania, in my opinion, any discourse from anyone that said, "Oh, it's the best thing for wrestling for Roman to win," those were not good faith arguments. Those were people just
The
trying to be.
Hogan record.
and there was people mad that AJ lost yesterday too. You know what I mean? Or,
Well, AJ's been
Those
around
are
for a
Roman
while,
fans.
but the crowd certainly didn't care. The
because
crowd didn't care at all.
here's my
I look
thing.
at it based off this. The internet is different than the crowd reaction. People
Yeah.
can say things on the internet, but there's people who trash Vince on the internet and the same people that cheer him when he came out on TV.
Yeah.
So Cody Rhodes' reactions right now speak loud for itself. I mean,
Right.
it's honestly a little surprising the fans haven't turned on him because he's been super Cody since he's come back. Honestly, I mean he's been that. He just didn't have a championship at times. He's only lost a handful of matches. He even won a match when he had a torn pec. So he's been super Cody since he's come back. I call him Captain America Cody. That's what
So
he is.
here's the
He's
thing.
So
Captain
can
America.
I go ahead, Mo, and then I'll ask.
The thing is, I've said it before. I don't think the kind of fans that go to WWE shows nowadays are that fan base that would boo everything. It was like kind of that online fan that actually goes to the shows. Those kind of fans have gone to AEW. That is what draws them.
And they can stay there.
And now you got these casual fans that love everything that WWE wants you to love and hates everything WWE wants you to hate. So it's kind of hard for them to actually boo Cody when you get that kind of crowd.
So can I ask more specifically to Justin,
Oh,
what
man.
do you consider the super Cody? Like, what is super's anything
So
to you?
as I've gotten older and I've become more mature, I've realized that John Cena wasn't just my cup of tea and I was not his target audience.
Right.
I personally hate a babyface that keeps winning. I feel like babyfaces are meant to face adversity.
Every time
I feel like-
wins forever.
I mean all the bad ones. Terry, Hulk Hogan, Cena, like most
Austin
baby, like
did.
Austin always kept getting screwed and losing his title and having to get it back. He faced adversity. I feel like a babyface has to face adversity. The Rock was so over because Triple H and the McMahon Helmsley era kept screwing him over. I feel like baby faces that get screwed over and have to face adversity will have a longer lasting. Like for me, I'm more intrigued than them just winning and winning and winning.
But
AJ Styles in 2017 when he beat Jinder for the belt, that reign got so boring because you can't keep seeing a babyface win.
Okay, so with that being said, you think they should just win the title and lose their first defense?
Not the first defense. I'm eventually I don't want Cody to lose yet, but I hope Cody loses before next year's WrestleMania and maybe wins it back. Even Seth's last reign was boring because he just kept winning, and it was like,
What?
See, no, okay. So this hey, Louis, hey, this is where
Seth
you
had
start
a great
losing me.
reign. I don't care.
Hey, this is where you
great
start
matches, but man,
this is where you start
story-wise,
losing me,
Great
man.
reign. I don't care, man. I love
Hey,
it.
Justin.
I loved it.
Hey, Justin.
great wrestling matches. But you remember that when he fought Shinsuke and he just like got
That
his
was a
ass whooped
good
the entire time, and then in the end he just won out of nowhere. And you're like, oh, it's this bullshit again. But I'm guessing I'm a little bit older than most of y'all. Not all of you, but most of y'all.
Probably.
You grew up in the Cena era, and that's what you know.
But even
I'm
with that-
32. I grew up in the 90s and early 2000s.
Damn,
that's what I
But
know.
even with that,
I'm
I
still
don't think
not-
AJ
why-
I'm
the reason-
still the oldest one. I'm still the oldest.
I don't think I'm the baby. I think I'm the baby here.
No, because I also realized that because once I run my page, I'm like, after I used to talk a lot of shit about Cena, but I'm like, oh, I'm dealing with a lot of people that are like now 25, 26 and have a voice, and that was their guy, and now you know what I mean. I'm like, oh, okay,
but even
I can't win here.
But Justin, even with what you just said about baby faces overcoming adversity, I'm gonna go back to Seth Rollins. The entire
he did it
point
all-
of that
unbelievable.
world heavyweight title was so that Seth Rollins could be a champion, because all that man did for 2 years was lose and put people over. He lost the Edge feud. He was losing to guys just for the sake of losing to him. For
Lost to
no
Cody
reason.
Rhodes
All-
20 times in a row.
Cody Rhodes with a
Cody.
torn pec. Like when you got smacked by Cody Rhodes with a legit torn pec, not a Vince McMahon throwing some booking at the wall. A legit torn pec, and you still lost. You got 3-0. 3-0. Like, bruh.
I don't even remember wins and losses. I remember who holds the titles and the stories that are happening, right? Like, that's a thing. Like,
well, I think the most important thing that you just said, Justin, is story, because Roman Reigns did nothing but not face adversity for 4.5 years. But the bloodline stuff was.
But when you're a bad guy and you cheat to win, you keep winning as a bad guy. That makes sense. When you're a good guy, you just keep.
But he
winning.
wasn't always cheating to win.
I think that's passe and
He beat
old.
a bunch of guys clean.
Yeah, I was about to say that beginning of that run.
I'm more of a Batman guy than I am ever going to be a Superman guy. You know
But
what I
if you
mean?
open
I
up-
like Wolverine. I don't like Cyclops.
If you opened up issue 3
No.
and Batman
So-
got punched in the face by Joker and was knocked out the rest of the comic, you might not pick up a Batman comic.
No, I would be like, now Batman needs to come back. I'm here for the ride for the comeback story. None of these babies. What is Cody Rhodes' comeback story now? He just wins and wins and wins. Cena did that
Don't
for
get
you.
me
He wins and
started.
wins
Don't-
and wins.
I can't.
Like,
I can't.
all these matches, do you go into any of these matches? Agents have like, oh, there's a chance Cody might lose. There's no adversity there.
His life
can
is
do
a
that.
Boring. You already know the
It's
outcome. It's boring.
Literally,
His whole
every-
career has been adversity.
But also, too,
Yeah, up
every
to Roman. The
champion-
Roman thing was adversity. It was good. That's why we were so behind it. Now, if he
Yeah.
keeps winning, it's gonna get boring eventually.
But no, Justin.
But wait, he's
Justin,
coming
here's where
off
you
of
start
one of
to-
the most generational runs we've ever seen.
You can't
Why
just
shouldn't he keep
lose,
winning?
especially when you're being established as the face of the company. You can't just lose.
I'm not saying, yeah, you guys think I'm gonna want him to lose like tomorrow. I just
No.
by next time's WrestleMania, I want him to lose that belt. I do not
Okay,
want to
so
keep
you
seeing him.
basically
So you
you
only like the
basically
chase.
think a
You
title.
like the chase.
You basically think a champion should never hold a title. A babyface champion should never hold a title longer than like 4 months. is
Or
what it
face
sounds
some
like.
actual
hard to
adversity
do.
where it feels like they're actually gonna lose.
Okay,
Not just
but you
wrestle.
It's hard to do.
Not one of those situations where like, oh, Kofi wins the belt. Now he's gonna feud Dolph. You know he's not gonna win. He's gonna feud this person. You know he's not gonna win.
Careful.
They're gonna feud this person. You know he's not gonna win. That's basically what they're doing.
Kofi's
They're
championship
basically
run.
just you win the belt, then you face a bunch of people that you're not gonna that are not
But you
gonna
can,
beat
but
you.
you can say that for every champion. Every champion's first title. I'm sorry, 90% of champions' first title defenses
So
are
that's what
against
I'm
people.
saying. Right now, we're on the borderline of it being that.
Here,
If
let me-
this keeps going on, we're really in Super Cena territory.
Let me
I
say
feel-
one
I
thing.
don't think
though.
that's super.
Go
Say
ahead,
one-
go
Because you
ahead.
can say that for.
I think,
every
but I
babyface.
think,
got
I
one
think,
thing
I
that
think,
have
look
home
to look at his point. There's the reason a lot of people hated Cena for those years is because he was winning championships a lot, but he was also facing people that you just knew that weren't going to beat him, which kind of made it an issue for the people who didn't like him. Like when he's facing other people, that you're just like, okay, like he's facing this guy, but you know that guy's not going to win. Or if that guy wins, he's going to be champ for how long, and then Cena's going to win it back. So, I mean, the babyface champions like Cody and Cena are going to be either disliked or liked by fans. There's really no in between.
The children
because-
will love it. The children will love it because they love superheroes.
because yeah, they're the superhero type baby faces, you know, that you have, and not everybody can really fit that bill, which is why we always go back to Roman. When they tried to make it Roman, nobody liked it, not even the kids, you know what I mean? So it just didn't fit his gimmick. It didn't fit what he was made to be. For Cody Rhodes, it fits what he's made to be, and the chase for Cody was so great. I personally have enjoyed his reign so far, and I
Me
think
too.
his first reign, they're going to try to establish him as the top guy, which is why he's going to beat these people, which he needs to. But I
Cena
understand
was
the face the adversity stuff, because there was a lot. If you look at all of Cena's reigns as 16-time champion, majority of them aren't really that good. He just won the championship, and then he either was in certain feuds with people, or he was flip-flopping the title back and forth. There's a couple of people you need, like, for when CM Punk came around, John Cena, he needed that at that time. Like, that's something that we really, really needed at the time, because at that stage, this was 2011, a lot of people who hated Cena were really drained out with the Super Cena stuff, and CM Punk was the alternative to what they felt John Cena wasn't, which is why a lot of people liked CM Punk. Like, okay, he could be our guy. Like, the company guy is Cena, but like, we want CM Punk. You need somebody like that eventually for Cody to go up against. Maybe it's Randy Orton. It could be Randy Orton.
Or
eventually.
yeah, I think Randy might be the one. You just need someone that actually seems like they're gonna beat him.
One
But
issue
the
I
difference
have-
is, to me, though.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in because I need to say something here. Just if I could bring G to the forefront here and say, let me play devil's advocate for a second. I don't know if it's necessarily who they face, but one thing, and it pissed me off this past yesterday too, to bring it back to Clash at the Castle. What you really need to stop doing, especially in the middle of a championship reign for a babyface, stop putting them in I Quit matches and stop putting them in last man standing matches, because the babyface is never going to lose those matches. Even when AJ had Cody handcuffed, caning him like he stole something yesterday, I never believed for a hot, solitary second that AJ was going to win that match, because the babyface doesn't say I quit. And
those particular matches I always hated too. Even when they put Cena in those situations, I'm like, why would John Cena ever quit, bro? His entire motto was never give up. So if he gives up, he's just giving up to the kids. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that when that type of baby face. So I understand that perspective also as well. I just feel like when you put people like that in those I Quit matches, you just know that they're never going to quit. You could, like I said, Cody Rhodes is going to get his ass whooped in that match. There's nothing you can do to make him quit. Same with John Cena. I saw him face 2 people one time in an I Quit match, and it's like, how are you going to beat 2 people in an I Quit match? But he did.
So you get the entire match and just pop up a win at the end.
I'll comment to what Jay just said, and then I'll bring it back to the whole Super Cena thing, because you're right, Jade. In a sense, I don't think it's bad because I feel like with the I Quit matches. For example, we have seen a babyface say I quit. Jey Uso. We've also seen another babyface say I quit. Edge. But why? Because it was at the detriment of somebody else that they cared about.
That's just as predictable.
But Jay, my thing is, I feel like with the I Quit matches, they don't do the heel winning at the sake. They don't do that enough. So yeah, we've had those ones. So I agree with you. If they had more parity with it, I'd be okay with it saying I have no problem getting rid of it. But back to the Super Cena thing, the reason why I can get with you on Jade, and this is why here's the difference between Cody and Cena to me as far as that super thing, because Super Cena was also burying people. Super Cena came in as an ultimate babyface and beat Rey Mysterio after he won the title an hour later. Super Cena destroyed an entire group in one night after they were the hottest thing for who knows how long, and it was their first true match against a big rival, and they killed him. Matter of fact, I don't know if he came back down 2-1 or 3-1, but it was definitely one of those situations. 2-1. Yeah, 2-1.
I think I DDT'd on concrete.
Yeah. DDT'd on see
first
that,
time I ever cussed in my life. I said, "What the fuck?"
And that is super. Cody has, if you want to say maybe the torn pec, that one time, okay, cool. But he's been winning. He's just been winning. It ain't been burying people, and that's where I feel like that Super Cena term gets used a little too loosely.
I think it's
we forget Cena was burying people, actively burying people for no good reason.
No, it's too early. It's too early for anything with Cody. I'm saying borderline. We're getting there if this keeps going.
But I don't think it's borderline because he hasn't even come close to burying anything.
Well, I
don't say burying.
I don't think that's fair to say, because right now they're still trying to establish his reign. Like, he hasn't even hit 100 days with the title yet. Mm-hmm. So obviously, in the beginning of any title reign, they're gonna throw you.
Is that what establishes the reign? The person has to hit 100 days for you.
Well, to me,
some of my favorite baby faces never had it. Look at Randy Orton's reigns; he barely had.
Well, to me,
that went longer than 25 days, 40 days.
well, to me, we're not even establishing like his peak of a champion yet. Right now, it's more so establishing that he's a fighting champion. We haven't even gotten to the nitty-gritty of Cody telling us.
If Cody lost, it wouldn't hurt Cody at all. Do you get what I'm saying? Because people still.
Yes, it would. Yes, it
would. I disagree. And I don't mean like right now. I'm saying like if he loses by like say November, are you gonna be like,
oh?
No. That was a misstep of words. Like say if you lost about that, like say the Survivor Series or something, is it really gonna hurt Cody?
It matters to who and how the story is built up.
But that's the thing. SmackDown.
That's
the
fair.
thing with Cody's reign, where I can see where it could potentially get boring, is the fact that SmackDown. We've looked at it the other day, has zero depth.
Yeah,
none.
Actually,
there is nobody who could
believably.
Yeah, go ahead, Luke. There's literally nobody besides Randy Orton.
That
could believably take the belt off that man. So it's just gonna be like we know who's winning every match. It's gonna be like we know who's winning, because how long can you can't run the AJ feud again? He's lost twice, and he literally said,
the
Randy feud. I don't see Randy actually beating him.
They've already said who. They've already made it clear that Solo is going to be the next challenger. So
Yeah, Solo's the
we'll
next
see on
challenger.
SmackDown. We'll see on
because
SmackDown.
Roman Reigns is bound to come back soon. So I mean,
yeah, so Mo, I can tell you exactly how these next couple of months are going to go for Cody.
Go for it.
SummerSlam is right across the way, so they're going to do the Bloodline because I can tell you right now when the Bloodline starts interfering, and especially if they do, I don't know if Jade said it, I don't remember who said it. If they do the whole costing Jey Uso in Money in the Bank, best believe Jimmy gonna come back and Jay gonna be right there with him with Mr. Tribal Chief Roman Reigns himself. And you can even possibly get The Rock. I know he actually, you know what? I don't know because he suffered an injury shooting a movie. So I don't know how that's delayed.
Put that up, Malik. Put that up.
Go away. Oh,
So
yeah, there it is.
So what I did on Thursday was I took it upon myself and I wrote down every single active member on the Raw roster and the SmackDown roster, and I color coded them. So obviously I put the green people. They're like in the mid card. The red are like right now the mainstay main event guys, or they're holding the title. And the blue people are the people that fluctuate between the mid card and the main event scene. The main thing that SmackDown is really lacking is the star power. It's really bad. And on top of that, a lot of these people, they're not really using like that. Like Tiffany Stratton's just coming off of like a world title match, right? But recently she hasn't been on TV. They just kicked her to the curb. Not really like that. Naomi, like as of recently, hasn't really been doing shit, and she was coming off a title shit. So, and on top of that, if you look at the green, look at the names compared to Raw on the left side, and then look at the names compared to the right. It's fucking trash. It is bad. Like Chad Gable, fucking Dijak, Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, like Ludwig, Bronson Reed, Ilya, and then compare it to fucking names like obviously SmackDown, you got Mello. That's a W. Fucking DIY and shit, and yellows for the people that are not here yet. But you guys see what I'm saying? It's
they got Santos.
It's like
they got Santos.
Do you guys see what I'm saying? But do you guys see what I'm saying though? It's like the mid card is trash, and because the mid card is trash, the people that are fluctuating, which is the blue people, they're suffering because they have to carry that fucking mid card because the mid card is trash. Because guys like KO, guys like Lashley, guys like Randy, they should be mainstay main event guys. But because your depth is so trash and you don't use most of it, it's suffering from these guys. Here's,
and I've said this multiple times. So here is the SmackDown issue. One, I think they need to do what NXT does and have a 15-minute overrun. They just need to be a 2-hour and 15-minute show. NXT is a perfect amount. They can tell enough stories. And mind you, they only have one world champion, they just got a female mid-card champion. But they only have one world. They used to only have one world champion for each brand and then a mid-card title. That's it. Now they have two, so that'll help out. But before they used to only have 3 titles. Right, and they made it work. They were telling 7 women's feuds, 4 tag feuds, a main event, and a mid-card feud all at the same time. And they made it work. So, SmackDown, what I think right now, it does suck that Bobby Lashley's hurt. That does suck.
Yeah, that helped. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that hurts them a lot more than, like, I even thought. Like, honestly, like, I was like, dang, they really need Bobby Lashley right now. I think Braun Strowman should have went to SmackDown also when he came back. But
I think Braun Breaker should have stayed on SmackDown. As great as
when they got rid of him, that was dumb.
Like he should have stayed on SmackDown.
That was dumb, but I think they knew.
But he's doing great now, so I'm not.
He's doing great, but I think they knew like, hey, Adam Pearce, that little whole thing. I think they had that plan. So either way, I think the SmackDown other issue is right now, Cody is your world champion and Logan Paul is your mid card champion. So until LA Knight gets that belt off of him. That mid card that you showed, Lewis, you can't use anybody to showcase that mid card because your mid card champion is not here. And that's the only. I personally believe if let's just say LA Knight was the mid card champion right now, I don't think you would have to worry about the depth. I think you'd still tell the same story you did with Cody, but you wouldn't have to force Randy and Kevin Owens to kind of float. Or the Solo Sikoa to float. They could just be main eventers. You can have a one-off match between 2 baby faces just to say, I want that title. Hey, respect when it's done. You can do that with a Kevin. But what happened? Kevin and Randy got stuck into the Bloodline Vortex. And now the Bloodline Vortex is making its way to the world. There's going to be a 6-man. don't be surprised if the opening show, the Money in the Bank, is a 6-man tag between these guys.
But you talk about the Logan Paul problem like it's so easily fixed. His company sponsors the ring now. The ring is sponsored by Prime.
The top turnbuckle got sponsored, man. Y'all saw that?
But LA Knight will take that title and fix it.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that you can't, especially already considering the eyes that Logan Paul brings. Like, love him or hate him, the dude is a business phenomenon. People who didn't watch wrestling before are watching it now because Logan Paul wrestles. Yeah. So not even considering that, now you sold the ring to him. Logan Paul, for all intents and purposes, owns your ring. So you can't just toss him aside. You got to do something with him. And that's the problem. He's got to be there some way, somehow.
I mean, he doesn't need the belt, though.
He doesn't need the belt to do that, though.
It does help. Like, he's taking it places. He's showing up with celebrities. He's doing stuff with it. But, he's done it. He's doing it. He's done it. And we can move on eventually.
He could have fought Cody Rhodes. Hey, I give him the Mania win. That was a great retain. He fought Cody Rhodes for the world title. He didn't need that U.S. title for that.
No.
He didn't. We thought it was a unification match. And then we were like, how are y'all going to get around that? And then they said, no, it's not. And I was like, okay, good. It shouldn't be a unification match. Hey, Justin, if that would have been title for title, I would have gave you Super Cody on that one. I would have gave you Super Cody on that one because that's crazy, right? That's crazy because there's no way you can book yourself out of that logic. No. But
unless Logan won,
which would have been the worst thing.
That'd have been terrible.
That'd have been shitty.
Terrible. So I have people here. I have people over. That's like people when I'm
Logan wasn't at. Logan wasn't at the previous. Logan wasn't at Clash of the Castle, and he's not. And I honestly highly doubt he's gonna be at Money in the Bank.
No, I think he's facing LA Knight at Money in the Bank.
I thought that was the SummerSlam plan, honestly.
It still is
because it's in Cleveland.
They can do both. They can do
both.
So you think Logan's winning the first one with brass knuckles or something?
Cheating.
I think he's gonna cheat. I think he's gonna cheat, or Melo's gonna cost him.
It's also possible that they both end up in the Money in the Bank and they get so busy fighting
because they're both gonna be on Smack. I don't know if you saw that segment. I don't know if you saw. I don't know if you saw that segment with the pool and stuff, but like they're both gonna be on SmackDown this week.
Yeah.
So.
They get to the top of the ladder at Money in the Bank and then they both fall through a ladder and take themselves out.
Because number one, I don't think you should put LA Knight and Money in the Bank, and he hasn't been on a PLE since Mania, so I think it's long overdue. You gotta start featuring him.
That's because he's been waiting on Logan Paul to feud with. That's why.
So I think that's gonna be the Money in the Bank match, but I don't think he's going to win the first match. I think Logan.
You could also do a triple threat with Melo at Money in the Bank and then do 1-on-1 at SummerSlam.
You could.
I think Melo's gonna be in Money in the Bank though. Because he got a qualifying match too. So I don't know who he's facing, but he already said that he's got a qualifying match.
I don't know. Melo feels weird so far on SmackDown. I don't really know what they're doing with him. He sort of you know what he feels like? And this is, again, remember where this is coming from. He sort of reminds me of when Dolph Ziggler first came up and started going up to people and saying, "Hi, I'm Dolph Ziggler." It feels like he's just walking up to LA Knight and Logan Paul and saying, "Hey, I'm Melo." Because, I mean, yeah, he's getting some one-liners off, but LA Knight owned him in that one-on-one promo thing in the back a little bit ago. Yeah. He hasn't gotten over on Logan Paul so far. It sort of feels like they're on a teeter with Carmelo. I thought Carmelo was going to come in, and in a different way totally. I thought Melo and Braun were both going to come up and be hot together in separate ways. So far, Braun has lit that rocket and shot himself to the moon. Melo is kind of teetering there.
You want to know what I think it is, Jade? Because I thought you were going to say a different name. He's giving me Grayson Waller vibes when he first came up.
I disagree.
That's what he's giving. No, because just with less matches. Because Grayson Waller, Grayson Waller, he kind of came up. Yeah, he would cut his promo. This might be a hot take. I don't think Grayson Waller is that good of a promo to begin with. I think people gas it up. Nevertheless,
I kind of agree with you.
Nevertheless, I think Grayson Waller, he came up. He had that match with Edge, and it was like, okay, you can swim with the sharks, cool. And then nothing. Carmelo,
but Grayson came up with less hype than Carmelo. Carmelo came up with more.
That's not entirely what happened with Grayson Waller, though. Grayson Waller, he had the match with Edge. Then he was put into a fatal 4-way number one contendership match for the U.S. title. And then he had more matches, and then he got hurt, which ruined his momentum. That's where he is now with the tag team title scene, so it's not entirely the same. The thing with Carmelo Hayes, and I told you guys a couple of weeks ago, people want to bring up NXT. People need to be NXT this. People need NXT that. A big reason why Carmelo Hayes got really over was his in-ring ability and the fact that Trick Williams was his mouthpiece. Now he's on his own, and he needs to figure out how can I use my words to really get me over, because the world knows I can go in the ring, but he's having Ricochet syndrome where I can do all this crazy shit in the ring, no problem. People know I can go in the ring, but I need to make people care with my words. And that's the main thing with Carmelo Hayes is he's always been tricky with his words. I'm not saying he can't cut a promo. I'm a wrestler. I rewatch his promo against Baron Corbin to their lead up match at Heatwave. He knows how to spit. The problem is he needs to learn how to do it consistently.
Right.
And he doesn't have that consistent mic.
It's more so of his.
I also think they're booking him a little.
Well, I think when it comes,
he just got a promo on SmackDown saying he was gonna go win, but it was
Yeah.
I think it's more so of his delivery and his voice doesn't match how he looks, man. Like some people when they talk, their voice it does. Like when Bobby Lashley talks, his voice is like it just doesn't match him, bro.
Yeah.
Like
they said Bobby talks like he underwater.
Brock
like it doesn't match when he talks. Like the same now, even though Brock Lesnar's at a stage where I mean he could fuck up a promo and nobody would even care because he wouldn't even care. So it's just like it doesn't. But like the main always been with the Brock. You go back to the early days when he was the next big thing. Like when he left Paul Heyman, he would talk like. His voice doesn't fit him, bro. Like it doesn't fit how he looks, and the delivery is. I think delivery is everything with promos. You know what I mean? Like some people have very good delivery when they cut promos, and they're able to hit their points, but when able to speak about like some of the best promos that we have, like Paul Heyman, Punk, Cena, all these guys that we talk about, they have good delivery and they have good punchlines with their promos, which makes them stand out. Melo just doesn't. He just doesn't have that, and some people don't have it, and some people may not need it. That's cool. He that's what he doesn't have.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he's dead in the water. By the way, Melo is great. I love Melo. He could definitely still go on and be a big star, but it definitely feels like, and I think Lewis hit the nail on the head of what I was trying to say. I think when he felt at his biggest was when he had the title on his shoulder and he had Trick behind him hyping him up, and now that he has no title. And he has no guy behind him.
Figure it out.
He's still got that natural charisma, but yeah, he's got to figure out how to push that shit out. He's just got to.
And I think I just figured out a way. It's probably a long gone shit. The first thing I thought was because there's so many things that should have been fixed. First off, Hurt Business. You should have turned heel when that was the whole point of you recruiting the Street Profits. You should have just been heel.
They've been dead for months, bro.
I know.
They've been dead for months.
And it's annoying because the whole point of Bobby Lashley recruiting them, the whole we got to be more vicious. I thought that was the point of them losing the LWO, them losing the Carlito, so they could finally turn heel. Never happened. So I thought if you would have put him with them when they first came up as heels, perfect. I agree. But since that looks like it's long gone because they're not turning them heel for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Well, the problem was no one wanted to boo Bobby Lashley because we all recognize Bobby Lashley's in the twilight of his career. No one wants to boo Bobby Lashley because we're not going to have him around for a long time. But and
I also think people don't want to hate the Street Profits either, bro. If I'm being honest,
they don't.
They're too charismatic and entertaining for you to.
And here's.
He died.
Oh, he died.
Man got that Walmart Wi-Fi.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P. man.
Wait.
Coming back. It's going back to life.
There you go.
Oh, coming back, dog.
Am I back now?
Yeah. He's revived.
Yeah.
He's revived.
Back like Roman, yeah.
Oh, he's a mom.
Crazy. I don't know what
he turned into a mom. There he goes.
Oh my god. Am I good?
I'm
about to
that?
Yeah, you're good, bro. You're good.
You're great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So my thing is, you can be in the twilight of your career, but you could still be a heel. They cheer Randy Orton when he come out, whether he's going to be a heel or not. That entrance theme hit, they're going to cheer Randy Orton regardless. Now, during the match, you start doing your heel stuff against the babyface they love. All right, cool. They boo.
Adam Cole was a heel the majority of his career, and people cheered.
And he got cheered all the time. So with that, they could have done it. But even if you don't do that,
I agree.
Give Carmelo MVP as a mouthpiece.
That's actually real smart.
Give him MVP.
Better than Omos.
Okay, so
relax.
Are you an Homo sapien?
I'm an Homo sapien, but I mean like MVP also needs to be with someone else, not just with Omos.
No.
You don't see him enough.
Here's my thing. I don't disagree with putting him with MVP.
I actually really like that. Actually,
I really like that, but I also feel like managers should strictly be used to help people who are presented well but can't talk. Melo doesn't have the issue where he can't talk. Melo has the issue where he doesn't make shit believable consistently. That's the issue with his delivery.
Well, that's why
he can talk.
That's why I think MVP could because even though Bobby Lashley's not the greatest promo in the world, I think him being with MVP helped. Because before that,
absolutely.
I mean, he could kind of be like how he was with Punk. Like Punk cut majority of his promos, but like if Heyman needs to step in, he can step in and talk too. You know what I'm saying? But like he didn't need to step in for Punk though. Punk can
I'm cool if MVP
promos.
cuts promos for him in the beginning, but like.
Eventually,
like what Paul Heyman is with Roman, just let him cook after months.
It's the same thing with Trick and Carmelo. Trick would just hype up Carmelo, but Carmelo would do his part then. He needs a hype man. That's what MVP would be a hype man for Carmelo to say this is a guy giving you the reasons why he's arrogant and cocky, and then when Carmelo plays arrogant and cocky, like it's already set up for you. You know, like it's
it could work. It could work for Melo.
He works best riffing off of someone as opposed to being on his.
That's
own.
exactly.
And I think
I was about to say to put it in basketball parlance. There's a difference between a guy who can create his own shot and a guy who has to be thrown open. And right now, Melo just has to be thrown open. He needs to be in the three wide open in the corner and have someone toss him the ball. If he has MVP there,
back screen,
set him up.
Cuts,
There you go.
There you go. He Klay Thompson, bro.
But Melo can
Melo is Klay Thompson.
Melo's Klay Thompson, dog.
But he could be a
Klay Thompson when he wide open, bro. He don't miss, bro. That's how Melo is. Wide open, he don't miss. But like. He did a couple.
Yeah, he went 0 for 10, man. He went 0 for 10.
We talking about 2016, 2017.
Klay Thompson. We talking about 60 points on 11 dribbles. Klay Thompson. That's the one we talking about.
The dynasty dying is.
But I will say though, I will say though, and I will agree with. I just hope because we know what if and when that happens, people are gonna cheer Melo. Just because when they WWE listen, Triple H, you dumb fuck, because you have an issue fucking doing this, and I don't like this, you bald bitch. You listen up. Once they start cheering Melo, hold on, wait. Once they start cheering Melo and they go crazy for Melo, that is not a sign for you to turn that motherfucking babyface. You hear me? You keep him heel. Don't you ever turn him babyface, because that shit in NXT
did not work.
Did
not work.
No,
that was so trash.
Keep him heel.
I would say
it wasn't trash. It just wasn't.
It did work for what they needed to get because it helped Trick Williams. It helped Trick Williams get to where he was at, and then it helped Carmelo for the turn.
It's not Melo's dominance though. Turning baby it made him stop his.
Some people are just better off with each.
No, you're right, but like I think some people are better off at whatever they are. But the reason why I think Melo's babyface run was trash is because him turning baby. Just because you turn babyface doesn't mean you change your character. That just means all you got to do to be a babyface is stop cheating to win. That's all you have to do. You still talk your shit. You still act like you the greatest thing since sliced bread. You just don't cheat to win. And Melo started all of a sudden, oh yeah, I'm humble now. Oh, I'm just happy to be here almost. That's what he was acting like. And then the second he turned heel on Trick, or came right back. Jade, I remember you said a while ago, like when it first happened, you felt like something was missing with Melo with him as NXT champion. It was because he wasn't a heel. Because he wasn't acting like the Melo we all fell in love with. Because Trick was still there, hyping him up. Trick didn't start doing his own thing till later. He was still there.
I 100% agree with you. That's one of my biggest pet peeves is when someone's like gets so over as a bad guy because there's that cool factor, and then they turn to babyface, and then they turn into Barney. They turn into Barney. They're smiling. They're hanging out with the other babyfaces. They're best friends, even though they were killing each other. And I quit matches 2 months before. I hate all that crap. Stick to what made you popular in the first place. That edge. They used to do that with Randy Orton all the time. Randy Orton would be like this epic heel. Then he turned babyface, and he was smiling and high-fiving people and stuff. Now they went with Orton. You don't do that anymore. Now when Orton turns babyface, he still has that edge. Because now he's older in his career, and they realize that. I hate it when they do that.
Bailey is the perfect example. Bailey is the perfect example of turning babyface, but still being, because Bianca still don't like you. You still got work to do, gang. Naomi, and I love the fact that Naomi is friends with her, but why? She wasn't there for that. She wasn't here. She not speaking on something she don't know about. That's all you gotta do, gang. It's not hard.
I think we're in different times where it's easier to cheer the heels because that's just how majority of the fans are going to really gravitate towards too. I think the NWO changed it all, bro. Once they turned the black and white shit, bro, NWO changed the game when it comes to the cool heel factor, bro. Like they were so cool, it was impossible for people to really want to hate them because they were just so cool to like, you know what I mean? So I do agree though. I didn't like when they turned Mello babyface at first, and then he was all being humble and stuff and everything. But I do think it did work for the end of getting Trick Williams, because Trick Williams started to get really, really popular at that time with that, and then it allowed Mello to turn heel and everything. And then of course, he put Trick over twice and everything. So it was cool for what it needed to be. But some people are just meant to be baby faces. Some people are just meant to be heels. I think Mello is just a natural heel. You know what I mean? He's just a natural. He's just a natural bad guy. It just fits him. You know what I mean? It fits him as a whole. So. I mean, I don't think Triple H will turn him heel anytime soon. I think he's...
Don't do that shit at all. Same way with Braun Breaker. I don't want to see that motherfucking babyface at all.
Yeah, both of their babyface runs were mid.
Braun's wasn't mid.
Braun gets the 2.0 pass because it was new. We understood what they were doing.
His second title reign as NXT champ, that's just top tier.
It was better than the first one. I'll give you that. It was definitely better than the first one, but Braun Breaker... Braun Breaker has a humble, like Braun Breaker. You look at Braun Breaker, and I don't think,
you don't want him to be a humble guy.
Yeah, you're selling for most of this match. No, you need to be, putting you through an announce table twice. I'm crushing your head.
I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Exactly. Like, you know what Braun Strowman. I'm sorry. You know what Braun Breaker is? He's what Braun Strowman should have been 5 years ago.
Yeah,
he's exactly what Braun Strowman should.
Well, he was. We got to see what happens with Braun Breaker because Braun Strowman was like that before he got put into the title picture.
Malik, why'd you say like that? You got PTSD from that?
Because we got to see what happened on Braun Breaker a couple months from now.
I'm talking about the Braun Strowman thing. You were like, like you got PTSD, bro.
Because
he rolled
Braun
his
Strowman.
Eyes. I don't know if y'all saw that. He rolled his eyes.
The way we feel about Braun Strowman, right now, we should not have that feeling of like, damn. Y'all missed the chance with that one, man. Because it's too late now. Like if they were to try to repackage him, it would be extremely hard. It would be if 5 years ago, whenever 2017, 6-7 years ago, if he facing Damian Priest is eating him for lunch, dinner, and breakfast, bro. Not even a question. Nowadays, he gonna get packed up by Damian Priest, bro. And it's sad. It's sad to look at him like that.
Hey Malik, let me ask you a question then. Devil's advocate.
Well, I shouldn't say packed up, but he's gonna lose it.
Prime Braun Strowman or Prime Gunther? Who you got?
Well, hold on. Are we considering what happened with the booking with Braun Strowman?
No. They're both in their prime. Who do you vacant Universal Undisputed Champion, whatever. They in the match.
Braun Strowman was Whoo,
that's so crazy, Gunther. Anyways,
I mean, is the title on the line? Because if it is, I'm picking Gunther because Braun never won the big match.
It don't matter what match it is. Give me Gunther, man.
No, if they're building up like how Braun Strowman was when he had destroyed Roman Reigns and then all that stuff
before he got fed to Braun.
Braun Strowman was.
Listen to me, it don't change. Gunther still only got 5 losses in his career. Give me Gunther, bro.
I don't know. Braun Strowman might be 6. Braun Strowman, that peak Braun Strowman.
Yeah, Braun Strowman, he could have lost, but Gunther not backing him up. Not even a chance. Gunther would it would be the fight of his life for sure. Because this is the same man that was literally tipping over ambulances and literally destroyed Roman Reigns at one point.
Hey, listen, I'm not saying it's gonna be an ass kicking.
The same guy that got hit by like a truck in an ambulance, something like that, and walked away from it. You know what I mean?
Listen, I'm not saying it's gonna be an ass whipping, but I'm saying it's gonna be like the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. Against the Lakers, every game was close, but the Nuggets still won. Gunther, you put Gunther Braun Strowman 4 times.
He ain't catching those type of L's.
I need to understand. Why the fuck is every wrestling fan a fucking Lakers fan? I'm tired of this shit. Pick a different team. Pick a fucking different team. All right?
Hey man, he's got a good team, bro.
Hey, my team is good. My team is great.
What did y'all think about Jade and Bianca losing those tag titles?
Hold up, let me jump in there.
Go ahead, Jade.
I have opinions. Here's the first thing I want to say. Was it a surprise that Fire and Dawn won, even if they were in Scotland? It was a little bit, but was I okay with the way it happened? Sure. I never expected Shayna and Zoe. There's a reason Shayna and Zoe won that tag match on Raw because they were never going to win the tag title match, right?
Yeah.
So I'm okay with it. The thing that's sticking in my craw about this match, because Cargill and Bianca are in my craw.
Okay.
In my craw.
Your craw.
Cargill and Bianca are both going to go on to do great things, either together or individually. I'm not worried about that.
But do we think they're splitting up now, though? That's the thing.
No.
though. Like,
Not immediately, no. Fire and Dawn, they're going to be okay tag. I mean, the tag division, Cargill and Bianca did wonders for that tag division, but now we're kind of back to what it was. Here's my takeaway. From that,
faith.
Here's my takeaway from that match, because Cargill had a bad night, right? I mean, we can all admit it. She had a rough night. For any of you AEW fucking marks who are sharing the video of Cargill slipping off the top rope and saying, "Oh, this is what happens when you go to WWE," you need to watch Chris Jericho in one of your fancy fucking dynamites from week to week and watch the shit that he's doing. B, you know how many times you could go back 10 or 15 years ago and watch a match with some of the best high flyers in the history of the world, Rey Mysterio, Ricochet, Eddie Guerrero, and watch them slip off of those same ropes? It happens. It's wrestling. That shit happens from time to time. And also, last night, those ropes were out to kill somebody because they almost killed Damian Priest. So, if you are hinging Jade Cargill's entire persona and every bit of her potential on the one time she slipped on the top ropes, all because you're bitter as coffee that she went and signed with a real wrestling company in WWE and left AEW broken ass behind.
Oh, Jade about to get flamed.
I need you to deactivate your Twitter account. Just deactivate it.
Hey, that's how you
you're wasting
feel?
everyone's time.
I'll look at it like this: the slip didn't help Jade look any better because she was already having a rough night. That match was a little bit sloppy.
She had a rough
that
night.
match was very sloppy. The ending was very sloppy. Maybe it was just their chemistry was off. Maybe they just some wrestlers don't have the good chemistry, so maybe that's what it was. But Jade still got plenty of time to grow and learn. She's gonna be fine. Yep. I didn't really look at that like, oh man, she's terrible, whatever. She got plenty of time to progress. She got plenty of time to progress and get better. It's totally fine. She'll be fine. The slip definitely didn't, like I said, didn't help her performance look good because she was having some sloppy moments and sloppy
I think it got
finishes
to her.
and stuff.
I think it got to her.
Yeah, so she was having a rough night. It's cool though. I think, like I said, I think Jay will be fine. I think Triple H knows she'll be fine. Shit happens in the ring sometimes. Sometimes you don't have a good night. Every wrestler you could point out and look at that you love has had a bad night, has had a mess up in a match, or sometimes it just wasn't there. It just wasn't there. With that to be said, the loss definitely surprised me. I definitely did not think they were gonna lose. What it's kind of telling me now, they honestly might win it back on SmackDown. I wouldn't even be surprised if they win those bitches back on SmackDown. It could have just been a little moment for them. But I do think both Jade and Bianca now are going to be in the Money in the Bank for the women. I really do think they're going to be in the Money in the Bank. Not going to win it, but I think that will start to be maybe the cause and the friction of, because now they're both in the Money in the Bank and they're both going to want to win. And
you costing me a chance.
You like the friction will start to be there, but there'll still be a team. Like they're like the dominant alpha female in them will start to come out. Like, okay, like, you know, it'll start to plant for that. Like I said, they could still win the tag titles back eventually. I would hope that at least with Alba Fire and Isla Dawn, now that they're the tag champions, they can at least try to do something good with them because they haven't been on TV in so long. And they were already a good tag team before they lost to Ronda and Shayna anyway in NXT. So hopefully they can now, try to at least do something with them as a tag team, at least feature them more, do something with them more to where they can feel like an important tag team. Because they still got other tag teams they can still out there feud with. Jade and Bianca don't necessarily need to be a team anymore for real if they really wanted to do it. I do think it may be a little bit too early after what I saw how Jade was performing. I don't know if she's really ready to stand out on her own yet. So I think give it a little bit more time. She'll be fine. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they win the tag titles back by SummerSlam, though. It wouldn't surprise me.
So
I'm gonna piggyback off of Jay what he was talking about. Like people are just grilling Jade Cargill about her in-ring, whatever. I know Lewis can speak for it. I can speak for it too. I've been in the ring. I've taken bumps. I've done all that stuff. It's not easy. It's not like it takes so much to even run the ropes and take a bump. Like even all that, like the basic stuff that people think is easy, it ain't. Like if you don't talk all the nonsense and all the garbage, go do it yourself and you tell me how good you are or anything like that. Like it ain't hard. It's not easy. So yeah.
And it's a very cliche thing to say, but the ropes are not meant to support, and I don't want this. It's not meant to support people who are like really built when you're springboarding off of that either. Like the ropes in terms of springboarding, they're built for guys like AJ, like a Ricochet, like a Osprey, guys, lightweight. Jade, she's I don't want to say big woman, but she's Diesel.
Well,
it's harder.
Yeah.
It's harder for her when she's springboarding. You look at a guy like Ricochet, he's not pushing the ropes down to get up there because he's a lightweight guy. He can get up there easily. Jade, in order for her to get her feet up there, she has to push the ropes down and then jump. And it's not meant for people like her to do.
But
so that's another thing to take into account.
No, she's done it before too. She did it before.
And she's done it before, which is great.
And
people
AJ,
don't know that.
They warned AJ in the beginning of the night, like the ref warned him, like the ropes are fucked up. So and it got a bunch of people. Like what doesn't make sense to me is like they're sympathetic for Damian Priest, but they're ready to just grill Jade.
We know why.
It's the AEW Association. That's all it is. Those AEW fans. I don't spend that much time on Twitter because I find Twitter to be a pretty toxic place. But that's what all the tribalism is mainly, right? So
yeah, I mean, there's a
AEW and she left to WWE, so they're gonna attack.
There's a war within some people, not every people, but there's a war within some people who are strictly AEW and strictly WWE. And that's how people you see how it is. People who go to WWE and go to jump companies, they don't want to support the people over there. Like there's people who I've been in my comments who love Sasha Banks but don't like Mercedes Moné. Like they're the same fucking people. They're the same people. They're just in different companies. Like they're the same person. People just don't want to support other companies. Which if you don't like the other company, that's totally fine. But like the people who only want Jade Cargill to fail are mainly people who just probably watch AEW a lot. Same people who don't want Cody to succeed and are trying to make excuses. Like those are people who mainly just are salty that he left AEW still. People who, like I said, Mercedes Moné, there are people who started that she walked out of WWE and feel like the WWE did no wrong by her, but they don't know they weren't there in her life at that time to make her judgment about that. So like I said, there's a war with certain people who don't want to support other companies and refuse to acknowledge certain things with other companies because they're only strictly loyal to one company, which if that's how you process and think and that's how you watch wrestling, that's just how you watch wrestling. But like other casual fans, realistic fans who watch it, understand and see people's growth in different companies and support people no matter where they go. Like I support my favorite wrestlers no matter where they go. I just like them. You know what I mean? So if they're not going to be in WWE and go somewhere else, then I'm just going to watch them over there. They're still wrestling. They're just not in WWE. If they're going somewhere else and they're not in AEW, they're just not in AEW, but they're still wrestling. So it's okay to support other people that you like if they're not with the promotion that you may particularly like.
It'd be nice if they capitalized on these botches and made it part of the story somehow. Well, like maybe Jade felt like she was the weaker link or Bianca, but they won't. It's too soon. But it'd be cool if like the fans talk all this crap and then somehow they're like, no, that was part of the story.
I mean, Maxine got a whole storyline based off of something that happened at a live show, so they can do it. But what I do want to say, because I did not expect them to actually, I was expecting Shayna to kick out. I did not see that coming.
She's
Triple H.
Man. I know it hurts you, bro. It hurts.
No. It's not even. This ain't even a Shayna reign. I've been known. When she made Alba Fire go to sleep, I knew.
It hurts you.
Mr. Paul Levesque, Papa H, you have made me proud after I wanted to throw hands with you, sir. But there is one thing that I need you to decide. I need you to decide if you care about this women's tag division or not.
No, you don't.
Nah.
If you do not care about it, scrap it. I know and look, I know you're stubborn. I know you don't want Sasha Banks to say you were right. I personally feel when they got rid of them tag titles, they should have stayed gone. But fine, you wanted to rebuild that division. You wanted to show you cared. I commend you for it. And then you messed up when you did that by having Aaliyah and Raquel win the tag titles instead of Damage Control.
That was fire, bro.
And then you had, you had Alexa Bliss and Asuka, and then you had Alexa Bliss and Asuka be a tag team, just to be. I mean, to be.
I'm gonna.
No.
Push back a little
Alexa
bit.
Bliss and Asuka.
No. That was bad. I think they should just honestly strictly just put the tag titles back in NXT because that's the only time it ever worked when they had women's tag.
Yes, and that's what I was. But the reason why I'm saying all of that. Okay, you put the titles on Jade and Bianca. I thought that's a magnificent idea to bring your title because y'all treat Bianca like she's female John Cena, and y'all aren't gonna book Jade bad after the way she just came up in y'all company. Right. Bet you have them have a dominant run, kind of like what Sasha and Bayley were supposed to do when they first won it, and then that way whoever does beat them, it'll feel like it matters. It'll feel like it's a big deal. You can spin off a few from there after they just resurrected your tag division, and your new champions look credible because, hey, Sami Zayn just ended a historic run. They're booking him pretty well. Cody Rhodes just did it. They're booking him pretty well. I truly believed in my heart of hearts, whoever beat Jade and Bianca would be booked and treated well, and that might have helped catapult your tag team in the women's division just to be simply respectable.
Maybe Alba and Ira.
Their second title defense. Your second title defense, and y'all lose.
Is it the second?
But what if they win it back though? They can still win it back.
They could win it back because they could prolong the Jade and Bianca thing.
If they win it back, because I'm hoping this is an Undisputed Era Mustache Mountain type thing, or an Undisputed Era with only Larkin and Danny Burch, whatever. But the difference was Undisputed Era were established before that happened. They were already seen as the top tag team number one. Jade and Bianca are still just starting, and we cared about those titles when that happened. So a hot shot moment in a foreign crowd, I can live with that. No, it's not even.
That's what happened with Mustache Mountain. They won it at Worlds Collide.
Exactly.
Didn't they do the same thing with the Iconics, or am I tripping?
But that was bad.
They won the tag titles at WrestleMania.
And that was bad. And
Sasha and Bayley shouldn't have lost him yet. They could have.
Exactly. So
I think I look at it though.
Last thing, even if they win it back, they better not lose it for the rest of 2024, in my opinion. If you want to save this tag division,
I think you pull the trigger on Bianca and Jade for SummerSlam or Mania. I think Mania.
I look at it much as like, if they win it back, that's basically saying like no team can beat us, like straight up. Like it was like y'all didn't pin us to take the tag titles. So like we win the tag titles back, there's no team that can straight us beat us in a regular tag team match.
That's why it's salvageable.
Exactly. What y'all just said, you're right. Because they didn't get pinned, that is my only saving hope for this. But let's just say either one or two things. Either one, Alba Fire and Isla Dawn just retain, which would be just stupid because we talk about believability. Y'all not telling me a team that wasn't on TV for months all of a sudden just beating Jade and Bianca straight up. You're not telling me that. We talk about believability. I don't believe that for a guy. Give a second, even if I was
100%
writing the script myself.
100%.
If I was doing writing the script myself, I wouldn't believe that.
The stupid thing is too. I love Bianca and Jade, and they could do wonders with the tag division. But in my opinion, they already had a team that could have saved the tag division sitting right there, and they've chosen to do nothing. Fucking Carter and Chance are right there.
Mm-hmm.
They have natural charisma. They're a great tag team. They look like a tag team.
They're
good. If you let them go,
they're probably
out
your
there
best
and
in-ring tag team you have.
So
you think of them as a tag team. You don't think of them as single individuals.
Exactly. I don't need to see Natalya and fucking Shotzi out there.
What you mean? That tag team was fire.
Nah, I can't troll. And y'all remember who they lost to? Damage Control for a stupid feud that meant nothing.
Yep.
That's who they lost to. For a stupid feud that meant
Chance and Carter should still be the tag champs to this day. That should have been the reign that helped save. If they had done that,
I agree.
If they had done that, then they wouldn't have needed Bianca and Jade to come in and save the tag division and make it look better. They could have already done it.
That's fair.
I don't know if the tag titles can be saved
because the NXT tag titles only looked as good because of Chance and Carter.
And they had a great dominant run over there too.
Exactly.
Mhm.
They could have done the exact same thing on the main roster.
I think they need to put the tag titles back to NXT. I mean, that's the only place that ever really
Yes,
felt
get-
like it worked.
get
Because
rid
then
of
when they brought them up and they unified them, I thought they were going to establish them with with Shayna and Ronda. Because I'm like, okay, these are two people that
I had
never
no
believed
faith
that.
in that. I had.
I
no
never
faith in
believed that.
yeah.
I did, because I'm like, these are two people that can establish it because of their name value. But then we obviously Ronda Rousey already had plans to leave, so I'm like, why do they even put the tag titles on them to begin with?
I felt like
they
that
already had
feud
shit.
was.
She was already leaving.
I feel like that tag team was thrown together to elevate Shayna, and clearly we're on square 5 right now.
I thought Shayna
that was
and Nia were a good tag team after a while.
Hey,
after they
Jade,
had some
you're
time to
right.
spell.
Hey Jade, you want to know why? Because they actually were presented as people you believed they could actually win some matches. That was the most Shayna's ever won on the main roster of her career.
That's why I liked it, because
y'all remember that spot? Y'all
it was a
remember
good
that
fit.
spot? Y'all remember that spot? She damn near almost broke Sasha's arm while she had Bailey in another hold and in the pandemic. Like, that's the best Shayna's looked on the main roster since. Kat Andre. The only if I'm keeping it a buck, the only Scottish person that should have won, if you're gonna choose any, should have been Drew. Other than that, should have lost. In sacrificing story for hometown wins, unless it makes sense. Drew, that one would have made sense if he would have won. I'm not gonna lie, Alba Fire. We just saw Alba Fire the week before get put to sleep. Why would I all of a sudden in a tag team match, not a singles, a tag team match? Why would I all of a sudden believe you can beat them? I just
I don't know. I'm kind of
to
still
sleep.
worried. I'm still worried they're gonna pull the trigger on Jade and Bianca early. Because what do they have Sonya cooking up with Zoe and Shayna? Is this gonna be like them a tag team against Alba and Isla this whole time, and Jade and
Yeah.
Bianca move on? Like, there's a lot going on here. And to be fair, what we're complaining about is like they put a lot of single stars together and make them an automatic tag team. And they've done the same thing with Jade and Bianca. Do we want that to keep going till March, April, or do we start moving on?
If
I
Nia
think you
doesn't
do
win
it
at SummerSlam,
until you
it'll be
really.
Jade and Bianca versus Nia and Tiffany.
I think you. I mean, I honestly think you do.
Are
it
they both on
until-
SmackDown? Sorry, I forgot. Jade and
Mhm.
Bianca. Yeah, okay.
I think you honestly do it until Jade really showed that she's really ready to stand out by herself. I don't think she's shown that yet.
That's the thing.
Yeah,
you
'cause this has
gotta
been
keep
protecting her
Jade
a
with
lot.
Bianca until she's able to have kind of back-to-back clean matches. I think that's what they're waiting on. Is they're waiting on Jade to be able to have back-to-back main event level clean matches. Once they see that, they're like, okay, now let's split them. Let's do it. Jade's ready. And listen, even though they came together as separate stars or whatever, they did a hell of a job presenting as a real tag team in the limited time we've seen them. They got their own tag team finisher, which is nice. They wear the related clothing or whatever when they both dress like the Road Warriors the other night. So I think even though they were brought together as individual stars, which normally I hate, I have admittedly now said that it sometimes can work if you're presented correctly. Baszler and Nia were presented correctly based on their booking. Bianca and Jade were presented well based on how they interacted with each other in the ring. So
you could put a lot of tag teams together and make it work. I mean,
but Shots, I don't need to see Shotzi and Natalia. I don't need to see Tegan Knox and fucking.
No, I'm saying if it's right, you can make it work. Because there were a lot of teams. Right. I'll use the Bar as an example. I was there the night when they announced that they were having the best of 7. I was in the crowd for that show, and nobody cared. Everybody was like, "Why are we doing this? This makes no sense." And then they turned out to be one of the best teams of that modern era.
I loved the Bar.
The same with Rated RK, bro. I mean, Randy Orton and Matt Riddle.
I always believed that was gonna work. Honestly, I'm not even gonna hold you. I love that.
But as far as it was pushed, though, like you thought maybe it'd be together for a cup of coffee, especially at that stage in Randy's career. But they were.
If Randy hadn't gotten hurt, they'd still be together to this day. I believe that.
Even if you want to go the NXT route, like Aleister Black and Ricochet were great for a couple of months, like when they were together.
Yeah, so teams Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin were a good team too, man.
Oh hell yeah, that was awesome.
Also too, before we move on, and this is not to rag on her, but it's just honest and blunt. Jade Cargill, why are you tapping out?
I think Shayna was actually choking her a little too hard.
Somebody said it was
was
like
actually
she gave her
choking
a
her. She
receipt or
was
whatever.
like trying to like ease up on me a little bit.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
Ace.
Apparently, Jade
I
like
mean-
kicked Shayna.
I mean, I hear
For
you.
real.
I hear you. But that could have
Get
went a
that
lot
receipt,
worse. If that
No, yeah,
because from what I know, I don't remember what documentary or whatever I saw it, but refs are like, they're told like, yo, even though they're supposed to kick out here, if they don't kick out, count to 3. Like that's why like when refs stop, they get mad at the refs for that because yo, you got to make it. I mean, I know that was more so in the Vince thing. I don't know if Triple H
Depends
changed
on
it,
the company.
but from what I know,
No, yeah,
they're supposed
I've heard those. With
yeah,
the-
like they're supposed to treat it
Because
legit.
AEW doesn't.
And so like
AEW
low-key,
doesn't do
because
that.
I think it was Jessica.
Yeah. I know WWE will do
Yeah,
that.
but okay, so I know. I think the ref was the woman one, Jessica Carr, right? I think that was her.
Yeah.
If this would have been a different ref, it would have, because it was clear as day. Like she did it.
Well,
in front of her.
so two
Like,
things.
clear as day.
Two
Like,
things.
The
Number
referees
one-
also
and
know
number-
the finish too. So
Two things. Number one, if I remember right, the ref was behind him. I
know.
don't think the ref would have seen that. B, the fact that the thing that makes me think that it was a work and that it was worked in is that the announce team called attention to it. Corey straight up said, "Oh my God, did Jade just tap?" And Michael said, "Oh my God, I think she did." If that wasn't in there, I think Triple H would have been in the headsets going, "Don't call attention to that. Ignore that. That But the fact that they call, and it was immediate too. It's not like she did it and then there was a delay for Triple H to say, "Hey, go ahead and say something." She did it, and as she's doing it, Graves goes, "Hey, did she just tap? Oh my God, I think she just tapped." So between that and the ref being out of position, I think it was a work, and I think it's going to work in. I think it's going to sow the seeds to Jade having some kind of inferiority complex, like she's going to think that she lost the match or something, and that's going to feed into Jade and Bianca having heat. I think it was a work. I don't
That
think
or even like the
So
Sonya
then-
thing. Sonya pointing out to Shayna like
yeah.
you made her
So then
tap,
two.
you know?
So
Yeah.
then, So two things to that. And this is not necessarily like at you. This is just me personally. The way Jade Cargill is built, presented, entrance, I would hate if she's in an inferiority complex. That's just me though. But second thing, the reason why, actually, to your point, Jay, because commentary called it out, that's why I don't think it was work. I think it's a shoot that they turned it to a work. And I'm gonna give a perfect example. The Gunther Randy Orton spot. Randy's shoulder being up,
Right.
that was not supposed to happen. They called to it. Corey Graves was like, "Oh, hold on," and then Triple H had to address it after. Now, what I do love that they do, instead of just ignoring it like Vince would do and completely insulting our intelligence, they acknowledge it and just come up with a shoot storyline reason to make it make sense. Like, hey, Randy Orton's a little banged up right now, so he's not gonna worry about it yet. But hey,
Yeah,
he'll
to
get
G's
something
point,
down
I
the line.
feel like
Cool, makes sense. We can
to
worry
G's
about it
point, I
later.
do think this era is very,
You know what I
they do
mean?
call what you see more often. And I think that started with guys like a Pat McAfee that literally just calls everything he sees.
Right.
I think they loosened up on the commentary team, and like maybe it was a production error. Like they shouldn't have been showing it from that angle, but since it showed, like maybe that was just Jade being like, "Hey, you're a little too tight, like loosen up." And it was a production error because they had the camera on that angle at that specific moment. They're like, "Well, now we have to address it. Just do it." Like oh, did she tap,
Sometimes the biggest mess up though, you could turn into a perfect story though. You know, sometimes shit like that happens in wrestling though. So like I know referees though.
But let's keep it a buck. That means we
No,
have
no,
to
no,
see
not
Shayna,
not involved.
and
That
means
as
we have
far
to
as
see Shayna and Zoe
as
in
far
another
as
tag
Jay
match.
maybe not having the confidence. I don't know if you guys saw the video after the match, but there's a video going around on social media where Bianca was like uplifting Jade after the
Yeah,
match, where
she
she's
was
like, "Keep your
she
chin
was
up, bro,"
keep
like
your head up,
because
yeah.
she looked disappointed. She looked disappointed
seen
about
that.
like how the way she performed and stuff, and Bianca was like, "Bro." Like,
Because one of them's gonna have to eventually turn heel, and I'd prefer it, I guess, to be Jade. So maybe this is her Darth Vader story arc, and she's gonna,
yeah, I mean, it could
you know.
I'd actually prefer it to be Bianca.
No, I actually really
I'm
want to
tired of
get
being
Bianca, but I
babyface
think the
Bianca. I
fans
really-
are way more behind Bianca than they really are with Jade yet.
Especially Triple H, the way you love factions. You had the Street Profits, Bobby Lashley, and Bianca waiting to be a heel right there. Y'all could be
I
running
would
this
love a
thing.
Bianca heel.
They could be
I would
running
love a Bianca heel
SmackDown.
thing. I just don't understand.
But they got BFAB.
I mean,
now,
I-
so-
if
It
to be
does
honest,
feel
though-
weird. BFAB feels weird in that. It feels like it should be Bianca. It feels weird.
even
to me.
even
she feels like Mia Yim. She feels
Yeah,
like Mia Yim in the
yeah.
OC. Why are
even if it
you're just
was
out of place?
because even if it was Bianca, I mean, they probably the Street Profits could probably be in a better position, but as far as a team, they probably be still in the same spot because every time they seem like they
still
get
get
built
cheered.
up, they getting fed to the bloodline because
And to be fair-
Tama Tonga and Tangaloa got to get built up now, and then you got other teams on there as well. So it's like,
well, remember, I think they should have been healed.
No, yeah. I mean, like even if they had turned heel, maybe they should have. But I feel like the Bloodline storyline has really been the main focus on SmackDown for literally like 4 years now. So even like if they were getting built up, once they brought God in, bro, it's like they're gonna get every team's gonna have to get fixed at some point. I love God. Because they also about the rumors also they about to bring in their younger brother too, whose contract is about to be up. So when he shows up, when Hikuleo shows up, bro, it's really about to be different.
It's really up. Yeah, it's up, bro. It's up.
Can I also give props, by the way? And I'm sorry, I just want to give props to Tonga Loa. That RKO he took Friday night where he went flat down on the bump and then he popped up and you see him physically go it looked like he got knocked stupid. He popped down and then back up and went
because right now the way they've been introducing, like when they first had Solo come in, right? He was the dominant threat in the group because he was the enforcer. And then once Roman left, he now has changed everything. Now they brought in Tama Tonga as like that vicious.
He's the enforcer now.
The vicious guy. But when they bring in Hikuleo is 6'8", bro. So when they bring him in, it's really gonna be different.
Like, he's
6'8".
Yeah. And Hikuleo, I'm not gonna lie. They might book Hikuleo like Braun Strowman, yo. He might come in and start fucking everybody up. I ain't gonna lie.
Like he don't have the muscular. He don't have the muscular.
But he's athletic as hell, though.
Yeah, he don't have the muscular Braun Strowman strongman vibe, but he's 6'8" and he's super athletic and he's only in his early 30s too. He's super young. So
and I know some people
and he's the baby brother, bro. He's the baby brother.
Some people have a problem with it. I love the way they're presenting the Tongas as just these bloodthirsty wild animals. I love when they came out to attack Kevin Owens and they're throwing each other off.
They were taking turns.
Yeah. It's so funny. It's so
That's
good.
what makes this new bloodline very interesting to me is that they're uncontrollable. Like Paul Heyman can't get in Solo's ear like he's able to get Roman. Like Roman is more understanding. Roman will look at the playing field and look at the best option. Solo is more of like we're wild, bro. We're going straight for it.
The savages, then there was like we're kind of domesticated.
So
like Solo doesn't think about consequence. Roman thinking about if we do this, got to think about
Roman
Roman came off of the Family Guy. That bloodline was
he's a game planner.
Yeah, now Roman is more of like scope the scene type shit. Solo's like we gonna go in, we gonna wreck shit, and we not gonna give a fuck.
So
we not gonna game plan at all.
Nothing to lose. Nothing.
So let me ask y'all a question, then. And Lewis, I know you hate when I do this, but let's play a little. Who can book what? So,
oh my god,
if the report Tuesday is bringing in what y'all say, Hikuleo, Mr. 6'8",
Hikuleo.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So that's 4 on their side. Tonga twins.
I know what you're gonna say, bro.
No. I'm asking you a question.
I'm Jacob Fatu.
Jacob Fatu should not be in that group, bro.
No, I'm not.
Jacob should be with Roman guys.
He should be a Roman guy.
No,
that was not where I was. That was not where I was.
No, I'm talking about. I'm looking at the comment because the comments.
The comment. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they all keep saying Jacob.
Yeah, no.
I'd rather have Jacob in NXT, but that's just me.
I just want to know.
That's fair.
So
me too.
Right now, we assume it's Solo and them 3 with the Hikuleo, Roman, the Usos, and Jacob.
Hikuleo.
What is that? Not what y'all saying?
It's Hikuleo.
Like Hiccup.
Oh, Hikuleo. Oh, okay.
Hikuleo.
Whatever.
He's the hookah. Hookah sound nice right now, though.
My point is, where does The Rock fit into this?
Oh my
Nowhere. Go away.
No. To be honest.
Worst case scenario, The Rock would solo up.
You guys are rolling your eyes.
Higher power.
No, I'm not.
No. You guys are rolling your eyes, but we not gonna act like this man didn't literally say, "When I come back, I'm challenging."
No, I agree, but I don't think he's going to associate him. I think The Rock is his own man, bro. I think he's literally his own. Not saying if they were to put him in the bloodline, he could be the new founder of like messing up that within group, but I think he's just his own guy, bro. He's the final ball because he does his own thing. He doesn't listen to anybody else. He don't have to. He's
literally everybody's boss. Like that's
okay.
Or he put Solo up to it. You could out there and they'd be like, he's the.
Yeah, he could put Solo up to it.
He could be the one that put Solo up to all this.
But that was where I was getting at. I'm not saying he gonna be the same thing he was last time, where he, just right next to Roman. No, I'm saying because I assume, And I think it's a fair assumption that when we inevitably get babyface Roman versus The Rock, I assume the bloodline is how we get that going.
Yeah.
So that's why I asked, how does he fit in? Is he the one putting soul? Because I do not see personally if they have a War Games without this factions going up each other. I'm not saying Rock doing it. I'm saying there's not going to be a War Games without it.
No, I think it'll happen this year.
Solos team against Roman's team.
Yeah.
Yes, but
I think
find out the Rock is putting it up to it or whatever the case, you know what I mean? I'm just
yeah, that could add more onto the story of that could add more onto the story of if the Rock was putting Solo up to it. You know, that could add more onto the story. I don't necessarily think it needs to be, because the Rock story is mainly with Cody, because he didn't even. If you look at that promo he cut, he wasn't even mad that Roman lost. He wasn't like, oh, you beat. He was like, all right, you finished your story, but now you got to deal with me. You had your stuff with Roman. That's over with now. I'm not Roman. You're gonna have to deal with me when I come back. So I feel like he's more gonna come back more so as his own. I don't think he's gonna be a part of the Bloodline Civil War stuff. I think that's mainly going to be. So then, how do
you start the feud with Roman?
Well, once that Cody feud is over with, you just build up that match. That match was going to happen. I look at it as like you could build it up the same way you were doing before. It's just now you're going to have more attention to it, because the way it was going to be built up this year, if The Rock had never turned heel, it was just going to be who's the real tribal chief, who really sits at the head of the table.
Okay, so, but here's my thing. And this is, I'm not saying you can't do that, but me, I no matter what story you tell, however it's got to make sense. So in kayfabe, not what would just logic like, oh, well, he's this, that. No, in kayfabe, last we seen them, there was no dissension from Roman and Rock. There was no dissension from them.
Yeah.
He did challenge Cody, which is fine. Roman went away. Roman wasn't there to tell him no, because he was gone at that point. So The Rock can challenge Cody. That's fine. I mean, shoot, Solo about to do it.
And it makes sense for Maivia to come back and do it because he's the last one to pin Cody. So.
Exactly. So that part is fine. I'm talking about, so from there, the road to get to Roman, as of right now, there is no dissent. There is no reason for them to fight anymore. They were on the same team. The Rock is technically still in the bloodline. He didn't get removed. He didn't get kicked out.
I think he's like Roman. You failed our family. That's why I put Solo in charge.
It could easily be something about like Rock's trying to come in and beat the alpha male. Like Roman's not gonna like that. Like he coming in trying to really be the leader now. Like I'm gonna come in and do it my way because you lost, so I'm gonna come in and step in.
But doing that, he'd have to involve himself with said bloodline. If Rock was just by himself doing that, why would Roman care? You're not taking over what I essentially built myself for the past 4 years. That's why I said I feel like storyline wise, kayfabe. In order for The Rock, because you can't just do, oh, I showed up now. That's dead because you guys were
okay. To play into it, this is how you could do it. Whenever Cody and Roman have the, let's say Royal Rumble, right? Let's say we have the match at Royal Rumble. During that match, you could have the new bloodline come out and try to help The Rock because he's not maybe the new leader, but the new bloodline is now trying to establish The Rock as the new guy. Within that, you could also have the OG bloodline come out to strike, because by that time we'll already be past Survivor Series, we'll already be past all that, so they're not going to be on the same page. If the OG bloodline comes out to get rid of the newer bloodline to come out, that could be the friction, right? Like Rock could be like, bro, what are you doing? Like I had a plan, you messed it up, and all that stuff. Are you trying to cost me my win? Like that could easily be the direction they could go in with that. There's many directions they could go in to make it work. So they did. I mean, they shown that this year they could make it work when they had to do the audible and they had to switch things up and they all figured something out. So I would say The Rock probably would come back himself. I don't know if he necessarily aligns himself with that bloodline stuff. I feel like if there's going to be any friction in there, it would have to be within that match. Like the bloodline comes out during the match, and then the other bloodline comes out to stop, them from helping The Rock win, which may not be. That couldn't even be a Roman thing. Roman could be like, I didn't put them up to it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because by this new babyface run, we're going to see a different version of Roman, and we're not going to see a very dominant, hard hitting like Roman as far as like his attitude. I think he's going to be more laid back and understanding. Like, I
think he still needs to somewhat be the same, going to what we were saying before. Like, he can't totally just be Mr. Nice Guy now.
Like, if he has to tap into it, he'll tap back.
He can tap into it, but he's going to more so have to step back and bring the family back together by apologizing and realizing he messed up. Like he forced his own family out of. You know what I'm saying?
He's got to recruit Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah, he's gonna have to admit. He's gonna have to
that moment of getting back together. Like
he's gonna have to admit to them that
you know that hug is gonna be.
So like when that
get Jay back in,
I'm saying like Money in the
Seeing
Bank.
his
Those
brother-
moments
seeing his
cost
brother-
Jay the Money in the Bank.
Seeing his brother taken out because right.
Oh,
when
that's
happened,
it's easy ways to get Jay back.
But
in. I mean,
he's on the
Malik,
other
with
side,
everything
so-
that you just said about cause of friction and all that, everything is with the bloodline. I don't think you could tell a Rock Roman story that would make sense without the bloodline. Whatever version of the
and
bloodline.
I think
we
to
get.
your point, it's inevitable. At some point,
I mean, they can
gotta
still
do
play a
Rock and
factor,
Roman,
yeah, they
and they
can still
also
play a
got to do
factor.
Rock versus Cody. Both those matches have to happen at some point. If Rock's, I mean, the Rock schedule is the only thing that could really mess everything up for everything. But
Yeah, I mean, he
Rock
did
and
get
Roman, Rock
he
and
did
Roman
get
needs to
hurt
happen,
shooting
and
the
Rock and
movie,
Cody needs to
so
happen.
apparently,
but
he got hurt
it's all
shooting the
it's
movie.
all it's all
Liger,
mainly
AJ's not
so
a top 5 wrestler in the world. Stop it.
it's all mainly so of whenever he comes back, when everything's gonna happen. It's just all based off it, like Justin said, of the Rock schedule and everything. But to your point, yes, the bloodline stuff can still play a factor, but the main focus is mainly going to be Rock and Roman itself. Not saying the bloodline won't have a factor into it, because at that point, the bloodline always mainly has a factor in Roman matches at this stage. So I don't see them not having a factor. They'll just be baby faces now. And of course, this new bad bloodline is going to try to take down the OG bloodline, because they want to be established as the new head of the table of the family. Like, not all of them collectively, but as the group. That's what I kind of see happening, because when Solo stepped up and he was talking about Roman, it came to me like everybody was like, all right, Roman ain't say you could do all this and do all that. So like, that's cap. You know what I'm saying? He's taking over himself.
There's more beef between Roman and Solo than there is between the Rock and Solo.
There's more cap to that. You know what I mean? So when Roman comes back, he's gonna be pointing the finger at Solo like, who you think you are? You think you me? Like,
unless the Rock was calling the shots and made Solo influence him to do this, like, no, you take control. He dropped the ball.
Because when they're saying when Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa keep saying in orders, like from orders of the tribal chief, I don't know if they're talking about the Rock or if they're talking about
It's
Solo.
the way
like,
they say it too. Like,
yeah, like
we're taking
who are we
orders from
referring?
the tribal chief.
Like, who we're referring to? We talking
But
about
the
Rock?
only thing that does throw me off is that Cody and Rock promo the night after WrestleMania. That's the only thing that throws everything off, because you're like, oh, do they have to go back to that too?
Yeah, that 20-minute wasteless promo.
Yeah, like, are they, or is it
No,
just
no.
like
Also, not to mention, like,
Yeah,
what
no
did he
commercials
what did he give Cody after that too?
the Rolex that Cody gave him or something?
Like
that,
what was in his hand? You know what I'm saying? Like he
a
gave him
watch or
something, so that plays into effect. So there's different angles that can go into it. I'm not sure what is
maybe that was
exactly
just
going
Rock's
to happen,
farewell for now with that whole Cody promo. That was his way of saying goodbye to like wrap that up. Hopefully, and then we get him back in the bloodline thing. But I mean, do you really want to see a singles Cody versus The Rock match?
I really don't.
I mean, if we,
I'm honestly not. I'm not against it.
Honestly,
I'm not against it, but I don't want to.
I don't want
Okay,
to
but
see
here-
my
as long as Cody wins, that's all.
honestly, here's my thing. It's probably gonna happen at the Rumble, and let's be real. How often do championships change at that pay-per-view? Rarely, if not ever. So, if you are gonna put Cody on that show, why not do it against The Rock? Where's the Royal Rumble this year? It's gonna sell out wherever it is.
There's rumors that, from what I heard, it could be in Milwaukee. That's what
And then you could already be building tension between Roman and Rock being like, I'm gonna go do what you couldn't do. I'm gonna go beat Cody, bring the title back to the family. And then when The Rock can do it, Roman's like, ha ha. Or maybe Roman screws The Rock from doing it. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, because Roman could screw The Rock too. Because realistically, the one thing that means more than anything to Roman is the head of the table spot, like the tribal chief spot. More than anything, even being the champion, he's already made that clear. Because when Jay tried to take it from him, he was like, "Nah, we're not doing that." Like he even said in a promo, like, "This is my birthright. Like this is who I'm meant to be in this lifetime. Like nobody else is meant to be this besides me." Now, even though he did say Solo was going to be the next tribal chief of the next tribal era, that's only when Roman decided to either take a step back or decide that it's his time. Roman never said that it was his time yet. So whenever that tension falls, there's a lot of different scenarios that could do that. Rock could cost Roman. They could have a bloodline implosion and all that stuff. There's a lot of different things they could do to build up that factor. Because I agree. I mean, they're not just going to do Rock and Roman without the bloodline having something to do with it. I mean, obviously, it only makes sense for them to do something in that factor. There's different scenarios that can go with it now, because when The Rock came back, there was no original plan for him to turn heel. And now he's a bad guy, and he's the final boss, and now Roman's tribal chief, which honestly, from character perspectives and storylines, it makes it better, because if The Rock had just come back, he would just been the same guy he was for the last 10 years coming back. But now he's a different element of what he hasn't been in years. Roman is now this element of what he's going to be, and now he's a babyface too. So he can now be more wiser, more smarter of how understanding of the mistakes that he made and not wanting to go back to make those mistakes as the tribal chief. So there's a lot of different elements. So they got to get past Roman and Solo first. That's got to happen before we get to Rock and Roman at this point.
Yeah, so what I said to a friend last night is, I think Solo and Cody go 1-on-1 at Money in the Bank. Roman comes back, costs Solo, and you start that whole thing. Roman and Solo go 1-on-1 SummerSlam. Yeah. And maybe you have Rock come back at SummerSlam, cost Roman or whatever, help Solo win. However you want to do that. You build towards Survivor Series with the War Games, do whatever with that. And then you can do Rock, Cody, Rumble, have Roman cost Rock, and then you do that to start their build to Mania.
Actually, I just noticed there's a lot on the checklist for. There's a lot pertaining to the story that you have to do before you get to certain points, like
which is why
because everybody's been wanting. Well, I don't know about now, but like Roman and Solo, you gotta finish that first before we do anything else.
Actually, I disagree. I
feel like the War Games have to happen too before.
I actually disagree. I think you can do Roman Solo later on, more specifically after Roman Rock, and here's why. If Solo is supposed to be the tribal heir and Triple H is in this new era building up new stars, Solo needs to win that feud. Solo can't win the feud before he beats Rock because then what's the point? What's the point of him facing The Rock if Solo wins that feud? So I personally think SummerSlam 2025 is Solo's crowning moment. Yes, it is a long. It is a long time. But one thing about this Bloodline story, they're gonna take their sweet ass time telling this story.
I think
they're gonna take their time.
That's not bad. You're cooking. It's not bad.
No, I think they're
Roman
gonna
doesn't come back and then disappear for another 3 months again, then comes back and then disappears.
I don't think he will. I don't think he will though.
This also when is Roman coming back? Because we're assuming like he comes back around SummerSlam or Money in the Bank, but we could all be wrong.
I think so. Yeah. We could be, but I wouldn't be surprised because I think they're doing this 6-man tag eventually. I think that's inevitable. I wouldn't be surprised.
Have you guys seen on?
I wouldn't be surprised if it came around Survivor Series around that time.
Have you guys seen on Instagram? Jay's been teasing Jimmy to come back to him.
I think Roman comes back because he was already rumored to be scheduled at SummerSlam in a match anyway. I think it's Roman and Solo at SummerSlam.
I think they do that, but I don't think Roman. I don't think Roman and Solo would be a match at SummerSlam this year, only because. If Solo was supposed to be the tribal heir when he finally has that feud, he needs to win. I'm not saying he's got to win every match.
No, I'm not saying he couldn't win at SummerSlam. He could still win at SummerSlam this year. Because this honestly, I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people expect Roman to come back and start winning, but he could be on a different downward spiral. Like if he loses to Solo this year at SummerSlam, then he could really understand and realize. I have to get the family back together to get where I'm at because he just lost to Cody. He comes back and now he's trying to challenge Solo. He could challenge Solo by himself and he's outmatched now because the other bloodline are not working.
There's no Jimmy.
So with that being said, if that's
like you can have Roman question like, "Am I really the tribal chief?" And then he's like recruiting
so if
you got the Pongas against him, like it's gonna be tough.
So if that's the route you decide to go, let's just say kayfabe, that's the story they decide to tell. Then okay. Right. That the Solo loss is what causes the reunion of the OG bloodline. Okay, I can live with that. That's the only way, though, because and Lewis, you talked about all the other stuff we need to do. I don't know how long Roman's going to be wrestling after this. We still need him to get his one win over Seth Rollins. You could do that at the end, but that I think
I don't think that matters.
I don't think we need it.
I mean, they waited like
10
years until Triple H got his win over Batista. Like,
and if they can do that, Roman Reigns can get a win over Seth Rollins before he retires. He can get one win.
I don't think that matters much. I think it's nice that Rollins is the one guy that has one up on.
It's nice that you're portraying that Seth will always be Roman's kryptonite. Like
I hated the fact that Triple H beat Batista at WrestleMania.
Like, bro, honestly, I don't see a scenario.
That was a Batista thing, though. He wanted to do that.
Within the Roman and Seth storyline, I don't see a scenario
as of right now, where Roman can beat Seth, considering Seth will always and forever have the mental edge against this man.
But
That's how we lost the belt, because Seth came out in Shield gear again.
Yeah,
That's
like,
literally
it's
why
the
you lost the
mental
belt.
edge. Like, I'm sorry, until they
Lewis,
can have Roman get through that mental obstacle, which they probably won't. I'm not feeling it.
But Lewis, that's why I'm saying I feel like that. What's it called? Him beating Seth would be kind of like the full circle to get him at like you, because you look, everybody got a kryptonite, but Superman eventually overcome the odds. You feel me? No pun intended, really, with the Superman punch. But either way, Roman,
I think if they're gonna do it,
right now.
But the thing is, where we're at,
They could do that in like 2026 to 2027.
If they're gonna, the only way.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
But the
That's
thing
how
about that,
I think that's the
thing
last
about
thing
that-
you do for Roman. That's the last thing.
no,
you
the
do
thing
for
about that is where we're is that really a necessity though? It's not.
Of course, it's not a
something Roman
necessity.
needs.
Of course, it's not a necessity. But if
I think the only way they make it
care
work though,
about
you have to get Roman in a place where he's gonna have to forgive Seth, like the mental edge, like I said, he's gonna have to put it behind him, and like when they go into the match, he's at a place where he's at peace with it, because for as long as he's not at peace with it, he can't get that mental edge
If
over
we
Seth.
talk about
And
storytelling,
that's
it
my
still
point.
makes no sense storytelling Roman to beat Seth. It's
Well,
storytelling.
no, because we're talking about.
I think it does.
when
If he gets forgiveness,
we're
for it.
talking about.
And also
That-
depends how
that's
Seth
the
comes
only-
back, who
no,
Seth
but-
is, what Seth is doing.
Seth can be a heel at any point. We know he can flip the switch. But if we're talking about this character arc that Roman's going to go on as a babyface, learning his mistakes and this, that, and the third, all of that starts with Seth Rollins. All of that, the downfall, the whole mental thing, it all starts with Seth. If we really want to do some Marvel deep dive storytelling, the whole inception of the bloodline, everything that led up to it, you can point to Seth as the reason for it. If Seth never breaks up the Shield, Roman Reigns doesn't get booed in Philly. Roman Reigns doesn't get booed after he beats The Undertaker. Roman Reigns doesn't have to go away and come back and be this manipulative demon just to be on top for people to respect him.
I know, but
All
they
of
also
those
want us to
dominoes
pretend
happen.
the Shield and get back together like 17 times.
All right, but here's the thing about that too.
Hey, but that was after what though? That was after what though? That was after what though? Leukemia, and he still got booed. He got booed after cancer.
All
No,
right,
it was before the leukemia. He left because of leukemia, but the Shield was already together.
Yeah, no. Here's the thing though. We're looking at one side, right? So we're looking at just the way how Roman could be portrayed. The way Seth is portrayed in this feud is it doesn't matter how strong you are, how dominant how you become. Doesn't matter what persona you change. The fact will always remain. I will always live rent free in your head, and no matter how hard you try, that will never change. That moment, if Roman has tried to forgive Seth in the past, that they planted that Shield moment where that's something Roman can never, ever let go of. And I like that. And it's not a necessity for Roman to beat Seth. Would it be cool? Yeah, but I like the fact that Roman has a kryptonite.
Same.
I mean, I'm not saying it's.
I don't think he needs to beat him. I don't think he ever needs to beat him.
I'm not saying it's a necessity, but I'm saying if they want to do this full circle thing, him going back to a babyface, that's a loose end you can wrap up. No, not trying to say like Seth is just some loose end, but if he doesn't, is it going to change from where I put Roman Reigns all time? No. Is it going to change from where I put? Is it going to change anything
I think right now the bloodline story, that's the most important thing. If you want to do Roman
and that's why I said
that's cool.
And that's exactly what I said. I think
That's like a
after
retirement
all
match,
of this,
Roman's last match or something.
that's
Yeah,
what
I think
I literally said that should be the last thing Roman does. He pins Seth Rollins.
And then maybe like if we're really fantasy booking, like those three will always be tied together, even though Mox is over there doing his thing. Like that's it. That's a whole different story for the three of them. Is a whole different story for a different time. That is always that's like his bloodline outside of his actual blood. That is just always gonna be.
The only way that it would make sense for Roman to beat Seth at this stage is when he goes into a place for forgiveness, because he bullied his own family out of his own bloodline, bro. Because he has trust issues with how Seth wasn't even his real blood, and he looked at Seth as his brother, and his brother stabbed him in the back. So he has literal own trust issues. So it's cool to he's going to have to convince the Usos to forgive him. Like he doesn't have to forgive. Like they have to forgive him. So he's going to have to be at a place where he's mentally able to legitimately put all that behind. Not even at a stage where he can forget Seth, but he just puts it behind him. Like I don't care anymore. It don't bother me. We're at a stage where I'm moving past it. We're gonna get to this. I need to beat you type stuff.
The crazy thing would see him and Seth work together again if this bloodline.
No. That I don't think they should do. That I don't. But like,
We don't
kind
need
of.
another
I
What
think
you
Roman and
just said.
Seth need to stay away from each other for a
That I
minute.
agree with too.
Well,
That I agree
well,
with.
well,
I
no
don't
more
think they
Shield.
need each other. They don't need each other anymore.
well, this isn't about a need thing. But
I
even
really
Malik,
want
with what
Seth to finish this Drew and Punk shit before I ever want him to sniff Roman ever again.
Of course.
And maybe
nobody's
Seth
saying this
asked for
needs
a
to
match with
happen.
Cody when he comes back because he helped him. You know. Like,
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
this
None of
doesn't need to
this-
happen immediately.
None of this
I
needs
don't think it needs to
immediately, but-
happen at all.
But
That's what I'm
Malik,
saying.
but what you just said though, what you just said, how he needs to ask for forgiveness and this, that, the third, kind of come that full circle, right? Them trust issues he got is cause of Seth. So in order, what do they call it? The 5 stages of grease. The first step to fixing a problem is admitting that you have one. He needs to, even though you can maybe technically get away and say he did, he needs to acknowledge, no, the problem is I haven't forgiven and really let go of what that did to me. That was the domino effect for why I have all these trust issues now and treated my true blood the way that I did. Like honestly. So I'm just saying they don't have to tell that story. I'm not saying they have to. But if they're going to do a full redemption, I learned, I went away. I mean, you could say Seth Rollins is the reason he's no longer undisputed champion. So if they want to do that, hey, I really need a redemption arc. I really need to. I'm older. I'm wiser. Y'all seen every BET movie. What happens with a popular R&B group? The New Edition story. What happened when they were fighting for years?
B2K,
Then they met.
B2K.
Then they met up at a wedding. And then they were like, "Hey, we're grown now." All that stuff, man. I'm sorry I did that to you. I'm sorry I did that. And then they play the typical black song that finishes out the credits and pause frames on everybody what they're doing now.
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You can easily do it here. Y'all, we've seen every BET
Facts,
movie.
facts,
We know how this works. Do it there.
That's crazy.
You see, but I also feel like not every
Reunion
story. No, but I also feel like this might be the sick fucking me, but I also feel like not every story deserves a happy ending. Like I like the ending being, I'm Seth Rollins. I will forever own your bitch ass.
yeah.
I love that.
Lewis,
Because
I also feel like-
because you know what I love.
That's the Infinity War in you.
You see, but we praise Roman's title reign, right? And if we look at all the people he's faced and defended against, I love that the one asterisk is Seth Rollins. Roman can say, "I beat everybody." I love when Seth is in the back, like popping his head, like, "No, you did it. You ain't do it. Shut the fuck up. You ain't beat me. So shut up." That's
And
what
also,
I like.
I
love
also
that.
feel like nobody ever really truly retires from professional wrestling. So like, I just like the idea of Seth always being this thing for Roman. If he goes away for like 6-7 years and goes to Hollywood, he comes back. There's always gonna be that. I get it because like you want to complete a thing. Like okay, The Rock got to beat Austin at
get
WrestleMania
it,
before they
too, yeah.
left. You know, like that was the one thing The Rock couldn't do. He couldn't beat Austin at WrestleMania.
I
and then he
like
did it,
I
right?
like
Chat,
But
those.
Batista
I do
Triple
not
H
like
thing.
you, chat. I cannot stand y'all. I don't know how
No,
y'all find a way
I
to
like
make
the
it
no.
look like that.
I feel the story. I feel the story he's saying, and it's not. It's a very great story. I just love the fact that Seth is like,
Same.
you can never beat me, no matter how hard you try. You can go up on the rankings all you want. The fact of the matter is, no matter how good you get,
It's
you
honestly gonna
can
have to
never
be.
beat me.
It's Batman and Joker. Like they need each other.
It's gonna have to
to
be
be their
like.
best.
Literally.
They
Eventually-
literally need each other to be.
Hold on,
Roman needs
eventually-
that anger towards Seth to be the tribal chief, and Seth is always gonna like.
Eventually-
like it could be looked at like the reason you're so dominant and why you climbed the rankings is because I made you.
because I made
this
you.
way.
And now if you
need
beat me,
me.
then what do you have to like? What is it like? Now you have nothing to be angry about.
That's why.
anymore.
That's why. And if we want to go to
That's
Marvel
what
and
he
DC Comics, right? If we want to go to Marvel and DC Comics, right? And this is where I go to my expertise because I make cartoon content. So Red Hood specifically said, and if you guys watch Under the Red Hood specifically said, "Why don't you kill Joker?" I'm not asking you to kill Harvey Dent or Penguin. Why is Joker so important? And Batman said, "I go to a place." But he also said, but there was another thing he said, like kind of like we need each other. Like he kind of, if he kills Joker, then what? You get what I mean? If he kills Joker, then that's
Why
it.
do you need Batman?
Why do you need Batman? You get what I mean? So it's kind of like if you beat Seth, what story is there to tell? The fact that he hasn't beaten Seth, we have way more stories to tell. So that's the way I'm looking at it. You beat Seth, cool. You close that chapter. But
if you don't beat him and you leave that door open, there's always the possibility where there's something else that could
They
be
spent
written.
4 years building the bloodline.
That's why I said that should be the last.
Okay, go ahead.
That's why I said that should be. No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that's why I said that should be the last thing he does. When Roman is about to, you know what? I'm gonna just go make some money in Hollywood because I got a pretty face and everybody, I just raised this stock of this company. The last thing he should do, the absolute last thing, his last match, last feud, last anything of importance before he start doing the cameo nostalgia pop-ups.
I completely get it. I just don't think anyone ever truly retires in wrestling. I mean, Stone Cold came back and wrestled Kevin Owens, but I get it. Like that is a good endpoint. But I just feel like Roman's character is never gonna fully.
Probably Brock Lesnar.
Probably Brock. He beat Brock though.
Brock or Edge.
He beat him once, but he still got his ass whooped in the match though. So it wasn't.
Roman's beaten everyone that he needed to beat. He beat Cena, he beat Lesnar, he beat everyone he needed to beat. He's never beat Seth, so I get it. They have to be like, Roman's never, like, he's 80 years old. He's never coming back.
You know what I would like though? If you guys played Batman Arkham City, the game ended with Batman trying to save Joker because Joker was poisoned and Joker died. I would love a scenario where Seth is like he's probably gonna win one more title in his fucking career, but I would love a scenario where Roman is trying to help Seth and he costs Seth. I would love that because even though Batman and Joker hate each other, Batman tried to save Joker but failed. I would love a scenario where Roman is trying to help Seth, but because him trying to help Seth, he failed in trying to help Seth and costed him something.
Because you spent 4 years of Roman being so dominant. And like the 2 times you saw major weakness was like that Rumble against Seth, and then let's be honest, the only reason Cody finished the story is because out of all the distractions that came out, this Cena, Solo, all these people, Undertaker, Rock, he saw Seth in Shield gear and decided instead of hitting Cody with his chair, I'm gonna hit Seth.
Yep.
You don't want to lose that ever. Like this guy lost a legendary reign over Seth Rollins in Shield gear. Like.
It only should ever end if it's really going to be officially
the end. Like if it's gonna be the end,
like officially the end of the chapter. Like once,
we're both gonna retire. Let's
once. I mean, even though
to be fair, that was the only reason Seth was in that story though, because Seth was like, "Don't worry," because he was like, "Don't worry," because the only person that knows Roman inside and out is me.
It like I said, it only should ever end to end off. It only should ever end if it's officially going to be like the last end. Like once Eddie Guerrero finally beat Rey Mysterio, that was it. That was the last match they ever had. I mean, obviously Eddie went on, he passed away not too long after that.
Triple H finally beat Batista. Batista was done.
Yeah, it's like that was officially the end of it.
Batista said he wanted that for his retirement, and that was it. Like it has to be like the last thing. Because there's just too many people that come out of retirement. There's just too many.
But do you see
technically Austin's last thing was supposed to be okay. Rock finally beat me at WrestleMania, then I'm gonna secretly retire.
You see, but do you see what we're saying though? Is because Roman has not beaten Seth, we have gotten so many twists and turns within the story because Roman has not beaten Seth, and because a main reason why WrestleMania was so great was because Roman didn't beat Seth. He didn't beat him at the Rumble and never beat him at all, and that's why the story is so great.
And Seth it works so well when they're both heels and people were still there for the story.
Hell yeah.
So
I don't know. I get what y'all saying, and I get the story. Don't get me wrong. I think it's fire, but I just think the story works better when the door is still slightly cracked open because Roman has never beaten Seth, and I don't think he should get it done. Yeah, I don't think.
That's the one thing that will always. To bring it back to what I shook up, because my whole plan was to come up here and say one dumb thing to shake shit up, and it was that Cody Cena shit. And like, if I was going to go back to that for a second, because I'm like, I want to leave a little bit of an impact. If I'm going to go back for a second, the one reason Roman will never be a Super Cena is because he'll always have a set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one thing you will always have on him. If you take that away, then it's like, okay,
Good points, fellas. So good podcast. We're gonna go ahead and end things off here. I'll let Justin and Tay let you guys plug in your stuff once again to everybody where they can follow you. People listening on Spotify and people watching on YouTube, Twitch, wherever they are.
The main hub for me is the Wrestling Classic on Instagram. So follow me on Instagram. I tweet every once in a while, mainly just promoting my stuff and random stuff. So that's TWC Worldwide. I'm also on TikTok. All the links are in my bio. But right now, the main thing I'm trying to do is grow my YouTube. So if you guys can go follow me on YouTube at the Wrestling Classic, there's a ton of interviews since the pandemic with some of the biggest names in wrestling. I've interviewed Stone Cold, Bret Hart, Ric Flair, Chris Jericho, Rey Mysterio. The list goes on, and they're all like evergreen conversations that you can check out whenever. You can also listen to them on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, by searching the TWC Show. You'll see all my interviews there, plus old episodes of our podcast. But the interviews are the biggest thing. I just started using my shorts, so you can see some of the quick clips of them too. So check out the YouTube if you can, and follow me on Instagram for everything.
Instagram, TikTok, Tay.insane, Twitter, Tay Insane. I post on TikTok whenever I can or whenever I feel like it. I don't know, but feel free to follow me on there too.
So wait, real quick before we go, we have this thing where the guests have to say one hot take before we go. Just rile up the chat. So do y'all
I already did that already, but okay.
No, we said wrestler, but just hot.
I mean, my Cody Super Cena thing was here to shake shit up for fun.
Oh, you only got to bring another one up.
If you want to go first, hey, you can go first. Let me think about this for a second.
I have to go to my list. Hold on.
The list is crazy.
I'm thinking Chris Jericho.
This guy's Drew McIntyre, top hater right now. Top hater. He's like, let me see what I hate the most right now.
You want to rapid fire the list? You want to rapid fire the list?
No, most of my shit I could say is just gonna be me. I've been trying real hard not to do it because I have so many friends that work there, and I'm like rooting for them and I want them to do good. But man, I got so many takes on AEW. But I'm like, this is why I can't even do a podcast regularly, because I'm like, I'm gonna talk too much shit. I'm gonna talk too much shit, and I'm gonna piss someone off.
You can give just one. Just give one. Give one.
Jericho needs to. I mean, it's not even. Let me take one to talk, because most of them you guys are gonna agree with. That's the problem. Let me think of one that's like actually.
You think
like,
Jericho should retire? Is what you were about to say.
I don't think he should retire. I definitely think he should take time off. I think the best thing ever did in his career was take time off, and he doesn't do it now. But let me hear yours, Tay. I want to hear one. I'm gonna think of one that's actually like a hot.
I think y'all said it last week or the week before or something like that. But for me personally, Sasha is the worst of the four horsewomen.
Yeah,
I'm not with that.
For me, it's Becky, Charlotte, Bailey, and then Sasha 4.
For me, it's Sasha, Charlotte, Bailey, Becky.
Oh,
maybe Becky. Becky and Bailey, you can flip flop. Bailey and Becky, you can flip flop.
Bailey at last kind of wild. I mean, Becky at last kind of wild. Man.
Well, you know, I didn't like.
That could be your hot take. That could be your hot take.
I liked. I've always liked Becky. Period. Like, she just has never really been my favorite, but I've always liked her. Sasha, I've been a fan of since the moment I saw on NXT back in like 2013, 14, when she was doing the stuff with Summer Rae and Charlotte. Charlotte, I just, outside of like, you know, it must be real hard being Ric Flair's daughter. Let's just face it. Like, none of the Ric's other kids made it because they couldn't. So I give her the benefit of the doubt. I just, being a big Sasha fan, I had a lot of dislike for Bailey from like when she came to the main roster till like 2019, because I felt like the whole time Bailey was there, it watered down Sasha as being her friend. You know what I mean? That's why I always kind of had this thing with Bailey. When they both turned heel, that's when I jumped back on the bandwagon, and she's been killing it ever since. But I just, that whole period where they were like friends, I hated that. I think it just.
You didn't like the Boston Hug connection?
No, because I felt like the whole time in 2016, Sasha was up there winning titles, doing the thing. Then Bailey came up, and I was like, now she's just Bailey's friend. She had some spotlight moments, like her match with Ronda at the Rumble, this and that, but for the most part, she was always behind Bailey in terms of like preference of who wins stuff and who does things. And I didn't like that. You know, that's just my own personal opinion. But
that's why Sasha at the bottom. That's what it is.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think like. I think Okada's a little washed. I don't think he works in America.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Wow.
I don't think Kenny Omega's ever.
Really?
I think it's been boring. So I love Okada.
He's funny
I think
as
Okada's
shit.
a man. He's funny, but like I haven't cared about a single Okada match that he's had. None of them have really stood out to me in AEW.
You didn't like him in Pocket Dynasty?
Not really. Didn't really do anything. Didn't move me. I didn't think this is, and it's not an Okada problem, it's an AEW problem. If you have so much good wrestling, how do you stand out? If everyone's so good, what makes you any more special? When you were in Japan, you were special because you were the guy, and you know, not everybody was hitting bang after bang after bang on that same thing. In AEW, there's so many bangers. Like, what makes anybody feel special?
Lewis, tell him about your Will Ospreay take real quick. I want to see if he agrees or not.
All right, so let me sit up for this. I think Gunther absolutely wipes his ass, clears, and it's not even close. I think he gaps Will Ospreay by a mile. The reason why I say he gaps Will Ospreay by a mile, the main thing for me is in-ring psychology and how you can build to a climax. I think Will Ospreay's in-ring psychology, the way how he sell moves and no sells, and the fact that he has to unleash his bag in order to get to the climax, the fact that people kind of overrate his classics because of the talent he's been able to work with. I think Gunther, with the talent he's been able to work with, he hasn't been able to work with the main event guys, yet he's still putting on some of the best matches of the night. I think Gunther's in-ring psychology, the fact that he knows how to properly tell a story within the match, and I also feel like Gunther knows how to build to a climax without unleashing his full bag, and that's pretty much it, to be honest.
Can I ask you a question? Because I think you briefly mentioned it. I don't think we've ever spoken before, but did you say you wrestle? Like you trained to wrestle?
Yeah.
Then you're definitely going to like Gunther better than Will Ospreay. If you're a wrestler and you see it from that perspective, you're going to. Because you just brought up like the psychology and telling the story and reaching the climax. For most wrestling fans, they just want to bust their load. And they want to see the flips and they want to see the moves. Don't get me wrong,
like in terms of in-ring ability, Ospreay, like if you say he has the best ability in the world, I won't argue with you.
Athleticism for sure, yeah. He's athletic as hell.
In terms of just pure wrestling, and if we look at the situations they're both in, like every other day we hear, oh, like Will Ospreay put on another classic. It's like, yeah, well, Gunther has had to work with subpar in-ring workers like Braun Strowman, Madcap Moss, and Jey Uso, and still put on good matches. While Will Ospreay, he's about to face Swerve Forbidden Door. He literally faced Bryan Danielson at Dynasty, and he faced Roderick Strong. Tell me who wouldn't have a good match with those three? Of course, he's gonna have some classics.
When your talent pool is all talented, like, that's 100%. And listen, I wasn't even a big Ospreay fan until like he started, because I'm more of a storyline character guy anyways, until he started actually talking and turned heel in Japan, and he started like that's when I was like, oh, I can. And he kind of didn't just do flippy stuff. It was like he tried to implement some psychology in his matches because he didn't really do that back in the day. I've been more of a fan of Ospreay, so this is not like boo Ospreay, but I get why you say Gunther might be better than Ospreay. If you're like a wrestler that's been in the ring and like trying to do this thing, you'll be like, okay, well, the advantage Ospreay has is he is super athletic and he can do stuff, but not everybody can do that. So if you're looking at it from that perspective, then Gunther is a little bit more talented because he doesn't do all that stuff, but he's still over as hell and can work with anybody. Well, Ospreay sometimes has to rely on that stuff.
Gunther's a very 80s type wrestler, you know. He's very old school.
So that's what makes Randy Orton so special, right? Like he doesn't need to do all that stuff, but you can still get behind him and you believe in the character.
You see, Randy Orton and Gunther, the fact that you brought that up, that's such a perfect example. Because if you look at that match, Randy Orton and Gunther didn't really have to do much. And that's where I feel like Gunther really gets it. Because Gunther in the ring he analyzes the crowd and knows what works and what doesn't work. When Randy and Gunther were in the King of the Ring finals, the crowd was so energetic that they realized they don't have to unleash everything they have because the crowd is so invested in the match. Like with Ospreay matches, the matches that he has with no buildup, like he has to unleash his bag to make the crowd care. When Gunther's in the ring, people care off rip.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Less is more, and we haven't seen Ospreay been put in a situation where he didn't have to pull everything out to make it a great match yet.
Yeah. When I think it's comes, also
then maybe we revisit the conversation, but I haven't seen it yet.
I think it's also we talked about it before. It's also certain wrestlers have certain criteria where you expect them to do that. We had a debate with like Shane McMahon and Jeff Hardy of how they always do high risk stuff, and it's like, of course, when Shane McMahon is in a match, the people are expecting him to do something extreme because that's just what made him really popular. And that's what got him really over. That's what made him stand out as a McMahon. When you watch a Will Ospreay match, when you watch a Ricochet match, people who like that style, or I mean, some people are more storytelling, some people are more in-ring stuff. So, I mean, it depends on what you like. I'm like you, Justin. I'm more of in-ring storytelling. I like character work more than anything. Right. So that most of my favorite wrestlers to me had great character work, were able to stand out on the mic while having good matches and telling great stories. So some people like Ricochet and Will Ospreay, and those guys are able to go in the ring and do things that half the people in the wrestling world just can't do because they're physically athletic and their gifts as far as their ability and stuff are just insane. But those guys to me aren't the best at promos, and they're not the best when it comes to in-ring storytelling. And some people are able to respect that and acknowledge that. I know plenty of people who like Will Ospreay and understand that his storytelling isn't the best, but they don't care. They like
both, but
his
they want
ability is amazing.
They want what they expect from Will Ospreay. They want what they expect from a Will Ospreay match, and that's the thing, right? So I can see your point.
Less is more. That's what they say in wrestling. Less is more. Dude, less is more.
Gunther's just your favorite wrestler, man. Like, he's one of the very few guys I've seen in my lifetime. Like, I could probably count on two hands in my lifetime guys who do the basic stuff at an elite level. Like Chad Gable, Kurt Angle, Gunther, like those guys fall into that category of, do they have the most amazing moveset? No, they have basic movesets, but they do everything they're doing at such an elite level that they can just go with anybody.
A great wrestler like Bryan Danielson would want to work with Will Ospreay just as much as he'd want to work with Gunther, and that tells you something. They both are great in their own ways, but it's different, and it just depends what you like. But that's why I say that I can't disagree or agree with what you're saying, because depending on your outlook of professional wrestling, you're going to like one more than the other. I have a friend that says Gunther doesn't move him. He says Gunther does nothing for him. And everyone's like, what? But that's just I guess it's just you know.
I think it's certain people.
And I have friends that like can't even watch AEW because they're like, it's too much being thrown at me at once. You know? So it's like,
yeah, it's different criteria, different criteria, different styles. Some people work slower than others. Some people, like if you watch a Roman Reigns match, it's very slow paced storytelling. Like it's not going to be anything right off the jump. It's going to be very slow build up to the end, and then you get what you get. With Ospreay matches, I mean, you're going to get a lot, you know, from the beginning to the end, and that's not necessarily a terrible thing. It's not necessarily a terrible thing at all. I mean, it works for what Will Ospreay has become. It's got him popular. It's got him that big contract. It's got him noticed by people around the world. So obviously, what he does has been able to make him have the career that he's had.
It works for him.
Everyone's got different audiences.
Yeah. So, all right, fellas. Thank you guys for coming through. Appreciate it. Make sure you guys follow Justin, follow Tay on their social medias. Be back next week. Next week's podcast is going to be all AEW too. So strictly going to talk about the highs.
Don't have me on. I'm going to say things I don't want to say, and then I'm going to get in trouble.
Are you sure you don't want to come on, bro?
We're gonna.
I genuinely have genuinely I'm not even trying to be like, oh, I'm cool. Like I know two people that work there that I've known since before they were even wrestlers and shit, and I just want to support them blindly. Yeah,
it's gonna be a mixture of both. We're gonna talk.
I want to support Mariah. I want everyone.
We're gonna talk about the highs and lows though. It's gonna be a mixture of both. It's
gonna be a big Christian Cage.
We're gonna talk about the highs and lows because there've been some.
And I'm also like way
Christian, my favorite wrestler of all time.
I'm way more CM Punk than I am Elite, so like that's a whole thing. And
yeah, I mean it'll be more of the highs and lows because there were some good periods at AEW that were very, very good.
2021.
There was. I still do enjoy it.
And there's been some lows, some questionable things. Yeah, there's been some questionable things. So we'll talk a mixture of both next week. So make sure you guys tune in next week.